Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha. This is Rabbi Simon Altaf from North America. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Happy Passover to all of you. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakolim b'davro. And before we start, I know we're a little bit on the dot today, but I was discussing something before I came online, so my discussion took a little bit time. I was discussing carbon C60. Maybe it's something that you all need to know about. But I don't know if you heard the president last few days. He mentioned the word zinc. And I already privately told my students that you need to be on zinc, because zinc is something that will, I may have spoken about it last week. Zinc is something that will prevent this flu type virus that's out there called corona. So I believe that if our bodies are insufficiently in zinc, then your chances of getting it might increase. I'm not saying they're definite. I'm not saying there's scientific studies on it, because I don't have no scientific studies behind it that I can claim, but I can just tell you from personal experience. I'm only giving you personal experience. Two things. Yeah, today for that, Rabbi Kefa. Two things I'll tell you. Number one, several years ago, when I was in England, I realized and I learned that vinegar, of all things, vinegar will prevent the flu. It will prevent the flu, and so you should take vinegar. Now, of course, vinegar's got that, little soury taste, and not everybody likes it, but in England, where I was actually brought up, people love vinegar, and they love this vinegar on chips, fish and chips, British fish and chips. My goodness, they love it. They put it on like no man's business. Just like you put on your Louisiana sauce, they love putting their vinegar on. So I used to make fish and chips at home over there as well, and I realized, so I started to use vinegar at the time, and I used to like vinegar as well. And by the way, that was not apple cider. So let's not go to apple cider. Let's just talk about vinegar in general. White vinegar, or the brownish color vinegar that you put on your chips, or what you call fries in America. We call chips in England. And you call chips to the dry, crispy potatoes over here, but in British term for chips means the fried version. So the fried version, chips that the British people make in their shops, they use a vinegar called malt vinegar, which is kind of brownish color. And it's not like the regular, it's not like the apple cider vinegar or the other white. It's a little bit darker. However, if you use apple cider or white, I'm not going to say it's any different, it's fine. It still works. And you can buy this from, I used to get it at Publix, by the way. And it's called Heinz, Mr. Heinz, Kerry Heinz. Kerry's the owner of the Heinz company. So John Kerry. And so John Kerry's company makes it, called Heinz malt vinegar. And you can buy that at Publix, maybe at Walmart as well, I'm not sure. That's the vinegar that you should be using on your fries. Now, why do I say that? Now, before I make any big claims, let me tell you something of fact for myself. I'm not going to say it's true for everybody. I have never got the flu, ever. I have never ever got the flu. The regular flu, I've never had it. Now, I'm going to put this forth, I will never get the coronavirus either. So, that's just me. Now, why that is, whether it's because I'm a Kohen, whether it's because something else, but I will attribute one thing to it, and that is vinegar. Because vinegar will prevent the flu. Now, I'm not gonna, make claims, scientific claims, or FDA approved and all that, so I'm giving you as a teacher, I'm telling you that you should be using vinegar in your food. Now, I used to use vinegar a lot, and I used to pour it on my fries, on my salad, everything. I used to pour it on. And I used to love drinking it. And I used to sometimes love drinking apple cider vinegar in a little water as well sometimes. But I wasn't so much in love with apple cider so much. But I did like the regular malt vinegar. And I use the malt vinegar a lot in England. I don't use it as much over here. Here mainly I use vinegar on fish and chips. When I make fish and chips once a week. Or if it's twice a week, usually it's once a week. I only use it then. But so, my point is this, that, apart from zinc in your diet, if you introduce vinegar your chances of getting the flu, the regular flu, will go down a whole lot. And if it can prevent the regular flu, it may be a possibility, and I don't make a claim that it's 100%, but it may be a possibility that it will also prevent coronavirus. Rabbi Kefa is saying that fish has a high zinc content, so eat fish. Yeah, absolutely. So anything that has a high zinc content, for instance, fish, beef, that is, cows that graze regular grass, like what they call organic cows, or natural, the ones that are fed natural food meaning grass and natural corn. But the problem is this, that majority of the things in America, as we all know, are GMO. So I don't know the effects of GMO long term, but I do know this, that grass fed, if you can buy it, great. If you can't, I would eat the regular one. I'm not going to say the regular one's bad. I'm going to say I'll eat the regular one if I can't find grass fed. Don't have to. So I don't care about mercury, Deborah. This is all, forget it. This is all mumbo jumbo that you guys believe in. I don't believe in all of that, and I take what I get. I take what I get, and I give thanks to God, and I eat it. And here I am today, speaking about it. So my point is this, that don't go into this, it's too much mercury, it's too much of this. A lot of Americans today, the problem with Americans today is just that it's GMO, it's this, it's that, and they are killing themselves by their own ideologies. Remember, I'm the only rabbi on this planet probably teaching you manifestation law that comes from the Torah. I'm probably the only rabbi after Rabbi Kefa. I'm the only one teaching it and writing about it. So remember this. Yesterday, let me give you a little testimony. Yesterday, I saw a 109-year-old man on YouTube, and you can pick up this YouTube video. This guy was 109 years old, and he died at 112. If you looked at his diet, what kept him going, and there was 3 things he mentioned. He said, I loved soups. He loved to eat soups. Regular canned soups that you'll probably say are rubbish in the supermarket. You'll probably say, oh my goodness, he likes that soup. So cheap, You'll probably be saying that. Yeah, they were cheap soups, but he loved them. And he said the other thing that kept me going, I was always happy. Happiness. Third thing he mentioned, he said, I love my ice cream. He said, I love to eat ice cream every day. And I'm telling you that my dentist hates ice cream. She told me, she said, Simon, never touch ice cream. Whoever invented ice cream is the worst mistake he made, because it kills people's teeth, right? So my dentist, he hates ice cream. Not that she hates herself eating it or somebody else. She's just telling me, Simon, you should not be eating ice cream, because, I used to love going to Dairy Queen at the time. And she's like, no, because it's really bad for the teeth. And if you do eat ice cream, make sure that straight away you go to your, flosser, and you do your washer flosser, and you wash your teeth out, so that you don't, have all that sweetness in your teeth that can kill your, that can create cavities and things like that. Absolutely. So, but she's a good dentist, right? She's now come out of dentistry. She's semi-retired. She no longer is the dentist. She's doing some other business. She made millions out of dentistry. She made a lot of money, and I think she bought land, and she's kind of settled out of that business, and she sold it off. But the point is, I'm trying to make, right, is this, that the very thing that my doctor told me is not good, and she wasn't wrong about it. She was absolutely right. But I found a 109-year-old man saying, I love it, and I eat it every day. Now, what does that teach you, Devorah? Stop talking about mercury and this and that and the third, because these are the things that are going to kill you, is your own belief system. If you believe that there's a lot of mercury in something and you're not going to eat it, you're already killing yourself by saying that, because your belief is what makes you or what breaks you. So, first and foremost, correct your beliefs. And stop running after GMO, non-GMO, organic, non-organic. I saw this argument years ago in England. And people were arguing about, is organic good or is non-organic good? And I always, when I went to the store, I always picked up non-organic. Because I said, what the heck? Why should I pay, £2 more for non-organic, organic versus or non-organic? And I said, you know what? It's the belief system. Even at that time I knew it was a belief system that either made you or killed you. And part of the problem is this: the majority of the people that build a belief, listen to me carefully, and I'll teach you something today that you'll carry for life. If you believe there's a conspiracy theory against you, then you will die with that belief, because that is what's going to kill you. Not the fact that somebody against you. Not that fact. I mean, there are people in this country, black people in this country, people of color, and they believe that there's a conspiracy to kill them. Eugenics, and they come up with all sorts of theories, and I've heard it all, by the way. I've heard all of them. And here's my bottom line. Bottom line is this: yes, there is racism in this country. Yes, there is. But do not live with this racism idea, because the more you dwell on it, the more you're killing yourself every day by that belief system. Stop believing that system. If you stop believing that system, you will do yourself a big favor. Because if you believe the white man's after you, and some of you might be teaching out there that, oh, this coronavirus is a white man's virus and he invented it to kill the black people, then you are absolutely mistaken. Because you are so mistaken that I don't even want to have chat with you about it. I don't even want to discuss it with you, because you're not even worth having a discussion with. Because this is what a lot of the people out there are teaching: conspiracy theories. Oh, it's a virus to reduce population, depopulation, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. I haven't got time for that. I'm giving you the bottom line. The bottom line is this: if a man can live to 112 years old, and this man, by the way, died at 112. He was 109 when he gave his first video. And he ate everything. He was smoking a cigar, a big thick cigar in his hands. Go look at the video and see for yourself. And then tell me that I'm telling you something that is not true. He ate everything. But the key ingredient, he went to church even. The key ingredient, he goes, I love people singing. So he went to church, it gave him joy. And that's fine. So my point is this, that it is what you believe and how you live. If you're living a miserable life, that misery is going to kill you. The mercury in that fish is not going to kill you, Devorah, but the misery will. If all you do is have a miserable face all the time, then I can guarantee you that the misery will kill you, not the mercury. Because the mercury you will survive with. I can tell you somebody who I know had mercury in her mouth for 50 years of her life. Listen to this carefully, and I don't want to put names against it. Somebody had mercury in their mouth for 50 years of their life, and they went and they replaced the mercury. All her teeth were full of mercury, so she replaced it with porcelain, white stuff. Apparently now there's no mercury in her mouth. Okay, but guess what? Before, she may have had the odd headache here and there. She got the little odd headache. You call it, migraine, call it whatever name you will, but I recently met up with that woman, and you know what she told me? She said, I'm getting very unhealthy. She said, after I had those teeth replaced, she said, after I had all that mercury replaced, I'm actually now more unhealthier than before. And I was shocked to hear it. Now you talk about mercury, right? So I want to actually correct you there. That when she had mercury in her mouth for 50 years of her life, because she got it when she was a kid in school, and maybe for the remainder, I'm just exaggerating, it's not exactly 50 years. It is about 30 plus years that she had the mercury in her mouth. So for 30 plus years in her mouth she had mercury, and she carried on her life, and it was fine. And of course she had her ups and downs, as most people do. But then the problems start when she replaces it with porcelain. Now you tell me, is mercury the problem or is porcelain the problem? You see, it's all about mindset. And I will teach you about mindset. Is start believing in yourself. Start believing that you can do and you will do. And don't say to yourself, oh, I'm a man of color, I'm a woman of color, and everybody's against me, or the white man trying to kill me. That is a mentality that the people of color in this country have carried on with, and they are going down and down and down. Why? It's your own belief system. And don't tell me, oh, Simon, you don't know that they're trying to kill me or they're tapping my phone. I know everything, that more than you do, because I lived in the corporate world for many years of my life, and I saw many things firsthand. So I know a lot more than what what I lead you to believe. I know a lot more than what you even think, because I even worked with this, with the special forces and secret service. I gave them information for certain things. So, I don't want to go there. So I don't want to go there, and there's no need to. But the point is this. The point is simply this, that white man is not against you, and you've got to stop that belief system right here, because that's what's going to kill you. It's not white man is against me and is planning to do eugenics against me. You're going to kill yourself by your belief. So when you stop that belief, then these things will simply go away. Let me give you another testimony. Another testimony. There is a testimony of a Rabbi Abdullah, Rabbi Abraham, or Abraham, if you want to call it the Hebrew way, Rabbi Abraham Abdullah. Rabbi Abraham Abdullah was the teacher of Neville Goddard, and he was a great teacher, because he taught Neville Goddard the law, what they today term the law of attraction. It wasn't quite the law of attraction, but he gave him the Torah version of it, which was how to manifest. And Rabbi Abraham, this was, by the way, a black guy from Ethiopia. You can look up his pictures on YouTube as well. Black guy from Ethiopia. And this guy, in the 50s, and I didn't know this, because you people who live in this country, who came out of slavery, I was told by several of you people that, you were not allowed to go to a barber's shop. You were not allowed to go to a bar in the 50s. And they had labels over there, posters saying, or titles, or things on the door saying, black men not permitted, or something of that, like Indians not permitted. A lot of those things happened here. And I was told by people here, my students, that, they did that. They put these posters against us, and we were not allowed to go to barbers, we were not allowed to go to the bars. Many places we were not allowed to go to, because they said, you're not fit enough, or they classified us as, I don't know, non-human or something to that effect. And so there was that kind of racism in this country. Everybody knows about it, by the way. I read the history and I learned about it too. So at that time, this man who lived the Torah, I'm not talking about going to synagogue and chanting, the Siddur. He lived the Torah, and he actually went to every place that you were not supposed to go to. He went to the opera house, he went to the barber shop, he went to the bar, he loved drinking. He went to the bar, every place. How? How is it possible that a black man, you're telling me that one black man is not allowed to go to the opera, but this man can? Another man can't. Then one man can go to the barber shop and another man can't. How? How is it possible? And let me tell you how is it possible. Because this man had wisdom. He had the manifesting law, and he taught it to his student. And he was able to do that, by the way. And I thought, what a great teacher. I thought, Neville had a great teacher. And that's how Neville, was able to then teach other people. But of course, Neville's teachings are still a little bit mysterious, because a lot of it you won't understand the words he used. But having said that, I am clarifying to you how those teachings should be applied in your daily life. And we'll talk more about it. But I just wanted to give you a brief that please do yourself a favor and stop believing in conspiracy theories. And I know that me saying that's not going to help, because some of you that are living in conspiracies, you're going to continue to believe in conspiracies. There were people in Forever Israel at one time, they're no longer with us. They believed that their phones were tapped. They believed that the CIA was listening to their phone conversations. I'm telling you, there were people of color that believed in that. And guess what? Everybody's phone is tapped. Guess what? Every conversation you make is recorded. If that news came out much later, when Edward Snowden went on the blower and said, what? Everybody's conversation is recorded. So my point is this, that some people were so paranoid People of color, they were so paranoid that they believed in that so much that they were like always living in fear. Always in fear. Oh, my phone is tapped. Oh, they're listening to me. And I was like, my goodness. They're changing their number constantly. Constantly they were changing their number. But guess what? You can change your number all the time. It's still being recorded. Still being recorded. And that wasn't because you're black. That they're doing it because you're black. They were doing it for white. They were doing it for Hispanic. They were doing it for Chinese. They were doing it for Indian. Everybody. La-di-da-di, the whole works. So, this idea that only the black know, that was a false idea. And this is a problem. The problem is this, that a lot of people are living in this la-la land, that in the la-la land they're only trying to kill the blacks. That's the la-la land, by the way. And so I don't live in the la-la land, and no, neither should you, because I can tell you that Rabbi Abraham did not live in la-la land. He actually used the Torah to benefit his life, and he lived a great life. He lived in an expensive place. He lived in New York of all places, which was expensive rents. Even back then in the 50s, it wasn't cheap rents. And he lived there. Now, what does that tell you? A man coming from Ethiopia, do you think he was an aristocrat? No. He didn't come from an aristocrat family. He came from a very normal, humble family, humble beginnings. But he was able to make it using the law of manifesting. From the perfect, from the Torah, the perfect law. So, you can decide to accept it, or you can decide to live in your mumbo-jumbo conspiracy theories. I don't really care. It don't bother me one little bit, because I deal with it every day. Every day I have to deal with this. And I have to keep telling people to stop dwelling on conspiracy theories. I have to keep telling people. I live with one, So I have to keep saying to people, don't dwell on it. But the problem is this, the more you dwell, if you dwelled, as much as you dwell on conspiracy theories, if you dwell that same amount of time you devoted to your manifesting processes, I'm telling you, you would be another person. And one day you will thank me for this, that I taught you this. Because nobody else is teaching you the way I'm teaching and giving it to you free. Because people are charging mega bucks, and they're teaching you a subverted version of law of attraction with all sorts of nonsensical things mixed in, which don't even work. Which don't work. So, you don't even have to try to, and I don't have to tell you which ones don't work. Now, on top of that, and it's Passover week. By the way, our Passover is over. The ones who did the Passover on April 3rd, our Passover is concluded. But the ones who started on April 8th, their Passover is, still going on. And I'm certain that you guys are having a beautiful time in your lockdowns. And and it's great. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, everything's working great. And we'll have our country open. But I wanted to tell you something of illustration as a point. I think we were a little bit too harsh. That's my opinion. And I believe that our president, he's a great man, good guy. I believe that our president went a little bit too far by the wrong advices given him. That's my opinion, by the way. Only my opinion. That I believe that we went a little bit too far and a little bit too much. Because it's not because the president's doing the wrong thing, it's because he's getting the advice from the wrong people. Look, at one time they were telling you it's going to be about 2 million people that are going to die. 1.2 to 2 million. That's what the president keeps saying on the everyday, things that he does, his little updates. And I can tell you that figure is way blown out of proportion. I don't care what they tell him. I don't care what they tell him. There would never be 2 million deaths in this country. Even if the country was open, I can guarantee you that. That I will guarantee. Because what we would have probably had, like the flu, we probably would have had a lot of people get the flu, and so a lot of people would have acquired the coronavirus. And when they would have acquired it, and those people with underlying conditions, then they would have succumbed to it. And I'm giving you a figure. Maybe it was going to be 100,000 people that died, right? That's what we would have seen. Maybe 200,000 people. But there is no way that we're going to lose 2 million people. I think that figure was way blown out of proportion. And the advisors, and I don't want to name the advisors, they scared the president into shutting down the whole country. And unfortunately, the president had to do that, because if he had not listened to the advice of his advisors, then the press would have said that the president is reckless and he doesn't listen to his advisors and people are dying on the streets. And that I believe, because if somebody had died in the street and somebody had fallen in Walmart, shopping, and somebody fell on a train station, then people would have said, hey, see, this president is putting everybody's life on risk. That's the reason why the president had to do a shutdown. Listen to me. Sweden is open for business. Listen carefully. Sweden is not a small country. Beautiful country. I've been there twice. And it's all open. And Sweden did the right thing. You know what Sweden said to his people? Listen, we got this virus coming. So those people that consider themselves vulnerable, the elderly, people with underlying conditions, please mind yourself, don't go out too much, stay indoors and try to protect yourself. That was the right advice by Sweden. And the rest of the people, Sweden said, carry on in business. And I looked at Sweden's figures. Less than 1,000 people have died. Now tell me, are you going to tell me that Sweden did a wrong decision versus everybody else shutting their countries? Do you know how many people today in Pakistan and India, because India also is going through a shutdown, do you know how many people will die in those two countries alone for the shutdown? And you may not believe this, but I know homes in Pakistan today that have no food in their house. And those people are already succumbing to hunger. And they are already ill. Not ill from coronavirus, but ill from hunger. And guess what? Hunger is going to kill them. Why? Because the country is shut down. Country is locked. The Prime Minister of that country is following the advice and the pattern and the behavior of whatever the World Health Organization, that the President said they're not going to fund as much as they used to. And, maybe following our President's timeline, similarly, the Prime Minister over there is following similarly what the Western leaders are doing. But the result is going to be disaster in Pakistan. Why? Because Pakistan is not at the level of America and doesn't have the wealth structure and doesn't have the paybacks and the kickbacks. It can't pay back the people who are staying at home. They can't give them that money. Here in America, you're so lucky over here that you don't even know how lucky you are. You're going to get $1,200 a person, right, for being at home, paid in the house. Never heard of it in ever, that people are going to be paid for being at home. And yes, the president said, we're going to pay you to stay at home. $1,200 per person. If you're employed, your employer will give you unemployment check and whatnot. And if you're working, you'll be on furlough, etc. Furlough means you'll still be employed, but you'll be paid, sent a check home. Now, that is not the case for Pakistani people. That is not the case for Indian people. That is not the case for Bangladeshi people. Now imagine if a person lived day to day and he had to go out to work and he was being paid, let's just say $10 a day. Let's just say as an example, and he didn't get his $10. How is home going to cook any meal? Because he doesn't have $10. He can't go buy the vegetables he needs. Because he can't even afford meat. He can only afford vegetables. He might buy potatoes. He might get some peas. He might get some spinach. And he takes it home and he gives it to his family. Now they don't have that $10. What do you think is going to happen there? Because a prime minister of those countries cannot afford to give $10 a day. Guess what? Hunger is going to kill them, not the coronavirus. So it's not the coronavirus is the problem, it's the hunger that's the problem in the third world. And that's the sad part of it. So, Baruch Hashem Yahweh, if you're in America, or if you're in Britain, or if you're in France, because your countries are going to take care of you. They are going to help you. They are going to support you. But there are countries out there, which many of you may have come from, myself included, that are not getting that level of help. So, we are very fortunate. Today, we are very fortunate that we're living in America and we have a great nation. In fact, the greatest nation on the earth in history right now. And a nation that pays you to be at home. Think about it. And yet, there are people in this country who are going on slandering and backbiting and bickering and arguing and, putting down the president and making all small talk. about how bad America is, and small talk about the dollar's going to melt. In fact, every nation out there wants the dollar. So those people that were predicting doom and gloom 10 years ago, they should go eat their words today and say, apologize to everybody. They should really come back and apologize to everybody and say, we are sorry, we were wrong, because everybody wants to buy the dollar. Right? Everybody today is looking to buy the dollar, and the dollar's shot up. That's the reality on the ground, by the way. This is why I say that you people should be very careful of what you believe. Because if you believe the wrong thing, that is what will kill you. Not the coronavirus, by the way. Bojo on the road to perfect health. Rabbi Kefa saying Bojo on the road to perfect health. So I will say this, that during this Passover, there's several things we learn. Number one, we're in the greatest nation on the earth. Yes, Rabbi Kefa, Boris Johnson. So he's saying Boris Johnson on the road to perfect health. So okay, Devora will look into that for next year. So my point is this, that you're in the greatest nation on this planet. We have the best testing system in the world. Even Israel doesn't have that system, and we have it over here. Okay? So let's not put Israel above everybody else, because Israel isn't above everybody else. Israel is actually right now seeking help from us. Israel is a beggar nation, by the way. Let me be honest to you. Israel, a beggar nation, begs us to give them money. We give them money to do their research, to do their things, and then Israel can function. Because if Israel, as a little country, does its own thing, then yes, Israel could be the greatest nation on the earth. If Israel really lived the Torah, but Israel does not live the Torah. Israel today is not even 50% Torah. If Israel lived the Torah, then potentially, God will bless Israel as the greatest nation on the earth. But today that blessing goes to America. Don't ask me why, but it goes to America, because we also have many Jews over here. So it has to go to America. So Israel can cut his handouts, then Israel can receive the blessing. Sure, it can. Because why not? Because God has given them the Torah, and God has said that if you obey the Torah, then you'll be the greatest nation on the earth. Guess what? Yes, they can have it, but are they? That's the question. So, I still, love Israel. I love Israel, but unfortunately, Israel's leadership is defunct of truth and justice. That's the only problem. And that's what brings every nation down when they don't do that. So, having said that, let's come back to our Passover. Our Passover teaches us. What does Passover teach us? Passover is a protection festival. Passover teaches us that if you obey God, now, God is not going to come down on flying on wings, and come down and teach you personally. God is going to send His people, His Kohanim, His teachers, His rabbis. He's going to send those people to teach you. Now, you can accept it, or you can reject it. So, there is an acceptance and a rejection. So, you can simply say, I accept this rabbi and his teaching, or I don't accept him. A lot of the time what happened with me, that people are always arguing, is he a Kohen, is he not a Kohen? Well, guess what? The Kohen is still around. And where are you? That's the question, right? So, if you want to see a certificate in my hand that's pinned to my door, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put a certificate on my door. But I am the Kohen still. Because I have my history. I have my family's history. Are you going to deny me my family's history and say that my dad and my grandfather and my great-grandfather never came from where they said they came from? You can't deny that history. So therefore, before you come up challenging with your theories, be warned that I'm not here to entertain your theories. So those that have listened have benefited and blessed greatly. I have students with me for 15 years. Some students have been with me for 15 years. And they have benefited absolutely tremendously. Tremendously they benefited. From the things that I taught them, the advice I gave them privately, personally, they benefited. Now, let me take you into the, during this protection Passover, and if you're doing it, then God has already blessed you because God is protecting you. If you're here today, and I can guarantee you that none of you have the coronavirus. And guess what? You're all either striving to be, or you're already in the Torah. Either you're striving, or you're already in it. And guess what? You already have the protection. Isn't that something? Think about it. Because all you said, right, is I want to learn the Torah and I want to obey as much as possible. And by just saying that, God has already protected you and you're alive, you're well, you're eating. That's a blessing in itself. That's something to be thankful for and give gratitude for. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, absolutely. So, I say that some of you are thriving, not just alive, you're thriving. You're kicking all over the place. So having said that, it's great to see you all here. And what I like to tell you is as a testimony, without naming names, is that let me give you some examples. And I think it was last night, no, it was 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago I made another meditation session, and it is available, and it can be dished out to anybody that need it. You can just write to me and I can send it to you. I think it's called Money Meditation, possibly along those lines. Because I think it was 12 o'clock, midnight or something, that I had the idea to do it. And so I went ahead and made it. And it's called, what is it called? Let me see. It'll be, Rabbi Simon, Power Money Meditation, 10 April. I made it on 10 April. So that is available. If you need it, just write to me. You can go on the website. You can write to my address, shimon63 at yahoo.com. And I'll be happy to send you that. Now, the way to use it. Here is the way to use it, because remember I said that I like to test. I like to test and prove before I say to you, hey, do this and it will work for you. So with that testing in mind, here is what I have found so far. What I found so far is that if you tag the teachings, like if you tag the meditation session, of course, you should be doing 3 basic meditations a day, if you can, if you have the time. And in fact, you should make the time if you don't have it. So the 3 basic meditations are the midbrain, the activation of the third eye, and the third one is this one, the money meditation. And of course, there's one more that I didn't mention. It's called the Rabbi Simon Altaf Powerful Affirmations. Healing your body is great as well. You can do that if you're sick in any particular way. If you have any underlying conditions, you should be doing the grounding. You should always do that, any underlying conditions, because that'll help your body to come into balance. And then, there are several meditations, and I know you can't do all of them in one day because there's too many. So let me just give you the basics. What you should do is you should do your, grounding, possibly in the morning, and then the midbrain. That'll take you no more than 10-15 minutes. 15 minutes, no more than that. Then at mid-afternoon, if you're able to, you should do the powerful activation of your third eye. Then in the evening, you should go ahead and do the new one I'm offering you is the money meditation. So what you should do at night, you should cue these in your telephone. If you got a telephone, and everybody has a smartphone these days of some type, you can cue these in a playlist, these 3 meditation sessions, and you should repeat them, put it on repeat and sleep. Here is what I've learned, and here is what I'm going to tell you today. And this is where I split from the mainstream to the what really works and what doesn't work. You are taught that you have to cover both of your ears and listen to both ears, hands-free or Bluetooth, and then that will work for you both sides of the brain. By the way, that theory today, I can tell you, is not true. I have proven it to be false. All you need to do is pick one ear. Now, you can pick left ear if you prefer, or you can pick your right ear. That's where you should plug in your, audio, in your left ear or right ear. If you pick your left ear, which is what I do, I pick my left ear. I find it easier. So I pick my left ear and I only listen to the audio on the left ear when I sleep at night. And I listen to it for about 2 hours, possibly 3, maybe longer. Sometimes I'm asleep so fast that I wake up, it's 4 o'clock and I've got the audio still running. So I shut it down. And sometimes I wake up, middle of the night at 2 o'clock and the audio is running and I shut it down. So in other words, run it for 2 hours, the meditation. The 3 meditations I just told you, cue them at night while you're sleeping. They will work wonders for you. That I can tell you today. They will work wonders. Because you can cue your list You may have a list of things that you want to bring in your life. Affirmations. I am healthy. That's a great affirmation. It's never going to go away, because you're never going to say, oh, let me cross this off, because you always want to be healthy. Would you cross off the affirmation that says, money comes to me continuously? Would you cross that off? Absolutely not, because you'd be foolish to do that. You'd want that affirmation all the time, forever. Money comes to me continuously would be an affirmation that you'd put on your list and it will stay. So my list, right, I speak to people personally all the time, and you think I have no other time but to speak to people. Sometimes I think they don't give me time to do anything else, because I'm in the middle of something, and here comes a call, and here comes an email, here comes a text message, here comes a WhatsApp and all that. My goodness, I don't get time to do my things, and so I'm like, my goodness, I'm trying to do something else, and this person's contacting me, that person's writing to me. So the point is this, that's fine, I respond to them. But the point is this, here is my point, that you can do these things and they will immensely benefit you. Because sometimes I'm just in the test mode, I'm testing something, and I don't want to be distracted and disturbed, but I do get distracted a lot of the times. So, maybe I need to go to a cave and I'll get distracted. But then, a cave may not have that telephone frequency either. So, just joking. So, having said that, so what I would like you to do is this, because this has been tested now by myself and by a few of my students. This has been tested and proven that you do not need to have both ears covered, number one. Number two, the list that I ask you to write. I ask you to write a list every day, but I have told you in the last teachings that do it for at least 14 days. Okay, I'm going to reduce it down now. Like the President Trump always coming back, the numbers of people are going to die. I'm going to come back with my numbers. I'm going to say that you don't need to write it 14 times. You can write it anywhere between 7 to 10 times. Only 7 to 10 times, that's enough. Then you can dislodge, in other words, detach. Do not write, do not think about it, leave the whole month without it. So, your list, when I speak to people, I ask them, I said, what is how many items do you have on your list? And you know what I'm told? Oh, I'm getting really hard time trying to write my list. Why is that? Oh, I can't think of what I want to write, and some people tell me they have only 8 items on their list. Think about it. There are only 8 items on my list. I'm like, start laughing. So you only want 8 things in your life. Really? You know how many items I have on my list? Day before yesterday, did a count on my list. I have 108 items on my list, numbered. And then I have some unnumbered ones too. I have 108 items on my list. And I keep saying this, that majority of my items on my list, maybe more than 60 maybe, are relational. So I say to these people who tell me they only got 8 items, that they can't seem to produce no more than 8. I say, so what, you're telling me that you only want 8 things in your life? It's like laughable. And then they're like, well, Rabbi, I can't seem to, put it together, and, I'm not sure, and so on and so forth. Look, listen to me. Your list, right, should be everything you desire in your life. And I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about the next 10, 15, 20 years down the road. You should have that on your list today. And then you can have it in 10 years' time. You can have it in 15. Look, if you put on your list, I'm a billionaire, there is nothing in this world that says you can't be a billionaire. But maybe that'll take 10 years to come, right? It might take a decade to get there. But you can be a billionaire. Are you going to just leave it off the list because you're not sure about it? This is what I have to deal with people, because it really gives me a bit of smile, and I laugh at it, because I think, look, I've given these people something that works. I've given them something that actually works. And what do they do with it? They play around with it. Oh, I can't seem to get more than 8, 9 items, and I'm struggling. So I can count you 8 items on the top of my mouth. I have great health. I have great relationships. I have constant money coming to me. I am wealthy. I am rich. I am, I am perfect. I am positive energy. I am, let's go through it. And I'll count you how many items in a few seconds. then I can say, I'm a millionaire, I'm a billionaire, I'm a multimillionaire. I've already counted you 10 items, just in few seconds, and you're telling me that some of you are having a hard time writing 8 items on a list. And let me count the relational ones. I have great relationships. My spouse loves me, and we have a fantastic relationship. Then there's others. My relationships are wonderful. That's another 3 I counted you which are relational. So there are people out there today that tell me that they can't find more than 8 items. And so that kind of, really, I have to think about it, that either these people are really, struggling, or they don't know what they want in their life. Because the only time that you only get 8 items is when you don't know what you want in your life. 3x is fine. Yeah, that's fine. So my point is this: that you pick up. Let's just say, you pick up 20 items on your list. To keep it short. I am not telling you to write all those 20 items 10 times. So if that's what you thought, then you obviously heard it wrong. Out of those 20, now let me give you 108 items on my list. I have 108 numbered items on my list. And there are others that are unnumbered. There are probably another 10 that are unnumbered on there. So what do I do with them? I'm not going to write all of them 10 times a day, because I can be writing all day and all night and I won't be able to complete it. Okay? So that's not the idea. The idea is this: out of my 108 items, I maybe pick up 5 items, 5 out of all of them, and I say these 5 are the most important to me, and I'm going to write those 5 times or 10 times, and then I choose my number. That's how I do it. Now you may pick up your list, and your list might be, let's say, 30 items. And I know some of you are struggling with 8, but let's just say you push it forward and you stretch it, and you stretch it like those numbers that come from the CDC. They're stretching it so much. First it was 2 million, then it was 1.2, then it was, maybe it's now going to be less than 100,000. This is how they stretch it. So now you stretch your numbers, and maybe you go from 8 to 10, maybe 10 to 15, maybe 15 to 25, maybe 25 to 30. Let's say you have 30 items on your list. Out of those 30 items on your list, you're only going to pick about maybe 3, maybe 4 items. 4 affirmations. And you're going to say, those 4 affirmations, I'm going to write 5 times a day for 7 days. Let's just, narrow it down to 7 days. So you pick up, 4 items, and you write it for 7 days and only 5 times. Now don't tell me you don't have time for that, because that may only take you, maybe at most it might take you an hour of your day. Are you telling me that out of 24 hours in the day, that you cannot spare yourself 1 hour that you spend maybe watching a soap opera, maybe you spend watching a movie, maybe you spend watching, talking to some relatives, friends, whatever, whoever you spend that 1 hour with. You have to, for yourself, have to get that 1 hour out of your life to write for your desires. Because if you don't, then I will tell you one thing straight, plain in your face, that you don't love yourself. I will tell you that you don't love yourself if you don't. So it's up to you. So don't give excuses, oh my hand hurts, oh this and that, because I'm not even asking you to write for 10 hours of the day. I'm saying to you that maybe the most, it might take you an hour. But if you're writing 3 items 5 times, it will take you 15 minutes to do it, not even an hour. I can write it in less than 15. If I'm writing 3 items 5 times a day, I will finish in 15 minutes, if that was my quantity. But my quantity is unfortunately a little bit bigger, so it does take me a little longer. So I don't write the 108, I've got about 5 items. And I only write them for 14 days. From now I'm doing them for 10, then I'll reduce it to 7. So now I'm only doing it for 7 days. And some of them I write 10 times, some of them I write 5 times. And I know I have about 5 on my list that I've taken out. So, and that will dwindle down as well to maybe 4 and eventually to 3. It will dwindle down to 3. So it will take less time. So now, you can do that. And by the way, I just remembered when I saw somebody in the room that I did make an audio for quit smoking. If any of you has problem with smoking and you are trying to quit smoking, I do have a audio that you can listen to, and I'm not making any guarantees because it is free, by the way. There's no guarantees behind something that's free, but I believe fully that it will work. But you can listen to it, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, listen to it. It will help you to quit smoking. So that audio was designed last night on somebody's request who's a smoker. So if you're a smoker and you need help to give up smoking, I can offer you a free audio. So having said that, moving on to what works and what doesn't work. So one of the things that works is queue up, put on a playlist on your phone or on your laptop, wherever you listen to, is 3 of the audios that are meditation sessions. Midbrain, the money meditation, and the activation of the third eye. Plus there's another 4th one, which I was told is very helpful for some people, is the powerful affirmations. Those 4 you can queue up, and they're probably, I'd say, give and take, maybe they'll take about 30 minutes the most to play. And if you play those in a loop around 4 times, the whole playlist, that's a maximum 2 hours. And after 2 hours you're done. Then you can disconnect and do whatever you want to, or you can listen to them while you're doing something, and that will work too. As long as you're not operating machinery. If you're just in the home, washing your dishes or cooking a meal, then yes, absolutely right time to listen to it. Listen to it, cue it up and listen to it. It'll help you. It will really power your manifestation process if you do follow it. So having said that, so I wanted to mention that was one thing. The second thing I would say is when you write your affirmation and you narrowed it down to 7 times. Now it's very important that if you're picking like me the first 7 days of the month. Now today is the 11th of April. I'm already done with my writing. I'm no longer writing anything now to the end of the month. So I'm already done, and so should you be done as well if you started. So now you should only start writing next month, beginning May 1. Now, it may be that you might suddenly in the middle of the month think, oh, I got this thing in my brain that said I need to write this affirmation, maybe something else that you desire. And suddenly in the middle of the month you decide that you need that item. That's fine, because what you can do is you can take 7 days and you can write it down even in the middle of the month, just that one item. 5 times a day, 7 days, full stop. Then don't write it. You can do it like that if you desire. Or you can leave it to next month. Now, also, remember, writing is manifesting. Writing is manifesting. So don't mistake it. Writing is manifesting. So, writing is one method for manifesting your desire. The other way to bring your desire is the imaginative act, the visualization. The visualization must be done. I say this, and you can do it less if you prefer, at least 3 times. At least the first 3 days of the month, or if you don't have the first 3 of the month time to do it, you can do it in the middle of the month, but you must do it 3 days. Out of those 3 days, that session you're going to loop. So if you're seeing yourself, let me put it plain Jane, if you're seeing yourself having $1 million, then you need to see yourself receiving $1 million 5 to 7 times in that loop. So what will you be seeing if you wanted $1 million? You'll be seeing that one of your friends, because you don't know what it's like to have $1 million. If you're not already a millionaire, you don't know what it's like to be a millionaire. You don't know what it feels like. So it's going to be very hard to generate a feeling. So how do you make it? You see a visualization, imaginative act, description. You see a man or a woman, a friend of yours, who congratulates you in that imaginative act and says to you, let's just say your name is Jane. And so they say to you, Jane, isn't it wonderful that you received $1 million? Congratulations. And Jane says back, yes, thank you very much. I have received $1 million and it is absolutely wonderful. Full stop. You loop that act about 5 to 7 times in your one imaginative act. then you may do it second time or third time. Now, when you stop this act, you stop it. You can stop it after the first time. If you feel that you have done it 5 to 7 times and you feel good about it, you think, you know what, I did it right, I'm happy with this, then you don't need to do it again. Then the whole month you don't do nothing. But if you feel, no, I think I need to do it a bit more, maybe I need to add a few more details into it, then sure, you do it second time. Second time, maybe you're sitting at a restaurant and your friend is at a restaurant with you and the friend is congratulating you at a restaurant while you're having dinner. So that's your second act. It don't need to be identical to the first time. It could be a same act but acted in a different place. Then you do it a third time. You might think, well, you know what, the restaurant one was okay, it was better than my first, maybe I need to repeat it one last time just to be sure. So what do? You're sitting on your luxurious couch, sofa as I call it in England. You're sitting on your sofa, luxurious sofa, and you're saying to your friend, your friend is congratulating you for your sofa, and they're saying, wow, what a beautiful sofa do you have, what a beautiful couch. And how does it feel to have that $1 million, Jane? And Jane responds back, it absolutely feels wonderful to have the $1 million. You must repeat remember, the secret is to repeat the number, the money amount that you're receiving. Don't just say, oh, thank you. Don't just say, oh, thank you and forget it. No, don't do it like that. That won't work. Because that will be less powerful. If you just say, thank you, David, because David is congratulating you to Jane, and Jane says, thank you, David, that's less powerful. But if Jane says to David, David, thank you, and yes, it feels wonderful to have that $1 million. Now you repeated back that affirmation or that congratulation bit that David is congratulating. When you do it in that format, then it will sink in, it will become active in your brain, it will make the I am connection with God, and then God will bring it to pass. That's how you become a millionaire, by the way. And today I will tell you that there is a student of mine, which I may not have made public last time, maybe I did say it. He became a millionaire, that student, from his couch. Yes, from his couch, he became a millionaire, and he only followed what I told him. Okay? So let's just leave it to that. So if you follow what I teach you, then yes, you too can become a millionaire. And that billionaire is no longer out of reach. That billionaire is no longer for the Chinese living in Beijing, or the Indians living in Mumbai, or the Americans living in New York. That billionaire is now achievable by any man, any woman, including you. All you got to do is apply the technique. And the businesses will come, and the necessary items that you need, God will make those connections. If you believe in yourself, and if you believe in the method, and you apply it, then God will make all the necessary connections and give you that item. I have full belief in that. And, I can't say any more. I mean, I was speaking to Rabbi Kefa, and we just had a little conversation, not only on text. Rabbi Kefa can tell you better than I can that Rabbi Kefa has followed my advice to the letter. And Rabbi Kefa can tell you how much blessed he is today. And Rabbi Kefa is not the only one. There are other people as well that don't come on this forum, they don't come on Pal Talk, and they don't speak about their personal experiences, but they too are blessed. And they have never set foot in Pal Talk, by the way. They just listen to me from afar, from YouTube channels or some other, Facebook maybe, wherever they pick up my teachings, they listen and they apply and they are benefited. So with that, I'm going to say that have a wonderful Passover. Continue to do the things that you do. Continue to listen to the meditation sessions. Continue to be observant and continue to obey the laws of the Torah. Now let me tell you something before I go. And there was something I wanted to tell you, and I thought is important to make a note of that point, is this, that you have probably read in the New Testament, or possibly in history, that there was a group of people called the Sadducees, and there was a group of people called the Pharisees. Now these were two separate types of people that were rabbis or teachers. Now the Sadducees is a group that I belong to because they were the Levites. They were the Kohanim, and the word Sadducees comes from the word Saduk in the Hebrew, and we are the sons of Saduk, meaning that Saduk was the high priest that was anointed and put there by King David, and his sons, future sons and daughters are all called Sadducees. So yes, I'm a Sadducee of that type. And I'm not a Pharisee because Pharisees were from the other tribes, so I'm not a Pharisee. Now, the Sadducees and the Pharisees had a great argument on many subjects, but the Sadducees stuck to the Torah. They said, look, written Torah only, and we do not believe in your mumbo jumbo traditions and blah 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 and all this. We don't follow it. We're not going to teach it. We're not going to accept it. So the Sadducees were very powerful at one time, and they refused and they rejected Judaism's traditions. And Judaism, in I guess retrospect, rejected the Sadducees. They said Sadducees are evil and they don't believe in the resurrection and they don't believe in heaven and hell. And yes, we do not believe in heaven and hell because heaven and hell is not taught in the Torah. God doesn't say that there is a place where I'm going to send my people or other people to be killed, to be tortured, to be burned alive, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. Okay, so because the Torah doesn't say it, the Sadducees took a very stringent view, and they said, we do not believe in an afterlife punishment, and we do not believe in resurrection. What they meant by resurrection wasn't that they don't believe that God can raise people up, but they believed that this idea that you do good over here, you suffer here the rest of your life, and God is going to reward you for it. They refuse to believe in that. And I can tell you today that they were right about it, because there is reincarnation. But this idea that you suffer in this life with all the pains and God will reward you for it is actually a false idea. It's a religious idea. It's not true. So beware of counterfeit religions teaching it. Did Yeshua believe in it? No, Yeshua never taught it in that particular sense either, because he also taught the manifesting law. And Yeshua taught about a resurrection, meaning that God will restore the kingdom at one time. He did teach that, but that doesn't mean he taught that you have to suffer. You see, I'm talking about suffering to gain reward. That's a false teaching. Yeshua taught that yes, there is a restoration day in the future, but this idea that you got to suffer today to gain that is even totally false by Yeshua's standards. He didn't teach that, by the way. He did teach the manifesting law, but that was what was unacceptable to the masses that were around him. Because when he spoke about eat my body, drink my blood, he was speaking metaphorically about manifesting law. They couldn't understand him. The life abundantly is about here. That's exactly what the Sadducees taught. The Sadducees taught that you need to think about today. You need to think about this life. You need to think about how to make it better. So they had all of that. All of that they believed in. And they wanted to be realists. They didn't want it to be this, this person living in this airy-fairy, mama's, idea of heaven. They didn't want it to believe in that. So they rejected it. They said, no, we do not believe that you're going to suffer this whole life and then you're going to wake up one day to have a beautiful life. What a bad, bad way to live. To me, that's an absolute terrible way to live, because that's what the religions of the world teach you. So, beware of that. Because if you're living in Torah, and if you're manifesting your desires and your dreams, you will have a beautiful life. You'll have a heaven on earth. Or you can, follow the, time-worn teachings of Christianity and say, hey, suffer the rest of your life and give your money away to other people and don't love money. Guess what? Money is energy. Money will leave you faster than your mother-in-law will. So think about it. So I leave you with this. Practice Torah, get your desires, and live a beautiful life. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, and over to you, Rabbi Kefa. Shalom, shalom, and Shabbat shalom.
Good one, Uncle. The mother-in-law joke, good one. Baruch Hashem. Shabbat shalom, Mishpah. Can I get a one? Good one, Uncle, with the mother-in-law joke there. You're faster than your mother-in-law. Baruch Hashem, I love my mother-in-law, by the way. Me and my mother-in-law are friends forever, Baruch Hashem. And I tell you, she is, she's in China right now and working on my script to get her to America. She does desire to want to come to America, but I'm working on my script to get her to America because, right now in my script I don't see myself going to China anytime soon. Too many other places to go and see with the family now than to get back to China. So yeah, I would like, my desire is for my mother-in-law to taste the blessings of America, just as her daughter and her granddaughter have as well. So Baruch Hashem, I'm Jew. I am a Jew. And this is what we do. We bring blessings to all people, races and creeds, no matter what color. And as I go in, I'm going to piggyback. Oh, for those of you who are celebrating Passover right now, how many of you in Passover mode right now? I was able to go partake of some good bakeries because, yeah, I follow Hanuk's calendar as Hakolim does, and we're pretty much wrapped it up on this end. Anybody right now still in Passover mode right now? I would like to say happy Passover to you and enjoy it. And to your family members that celebrate Easter, I would like to, extend my Easter holiday greetings to them as well, and that, they enjoy their Easter as well. Because, let's face it, at the end of the day, they're in service to, our master, our teacher, our great rabbi, our Messiah, depending on where you stand with that or don't stand with it, our great rabbi from the tribe of Yehudah, our great teacher, great leader, and what they know of as Jesus, or we know of as Yeshua, Yehoshua, or Christian. So you give thanks. You give thanks. So we see that going around world over right now is that, how many of you have been paying attention to the president? Look at the question, what are the main differences between Israel and Judah in short? I don't know what you mean by Israel. Judah comprises of Israel because Israel is Jacob and Judah is the son of Jacob. So I don't know if you can kind of be more specific with your question or where you're going. Now there's a big difference between, Judah. Judah is one of the great tribes that everybody would graft into. You know what I mean? Like the converts, majority of them would go into Judah. This is another reason why Judah was so big. Judah is always open arms for everybody. Baruch Hashem. And so I think that's important to look at as well. But when you talk about Israel, we're all Israel. Baruch Hashem. We're all Israel. You don't have to be sorry, luxury class. It's a great question. And again, it just depends on where you're at. And again, Israel. Now, if you're talking about, Ephraim and Judah, then, that could be a question that we can examine as well. Because, that prophetically has a lot of roles that are being played. Because Ephraim is considered all the tribes except Judah, Benjamin, and, of course, the Levites. And so Ephraim is out there doing their thing, while the most loyal, when you want to consider loyal, the ones that stuck to the Torah, just as Akoya was talking about, with the sons of Zatu, you look at the Samaritans and you look at the tribes of the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron, and their breakup, and then you look at Benjamin and Judah. These clans stayed pretty loyal. Throughout history, stayed pretty loyal to the Torah. While Ephraim, they kind of went out there and just mixed and mingled and did everything under the sun, and that's, history, and Baruch Hashem for history. So this is where we are today. And we see a lot of that today. Hakoyen has sent me a video, he sends me a lot of videos to look at, get good laughs. How many of you understand laughter is a great medicine? And I tell you, in these times, we need a lot more laughter, as we're all, holding strict to the rules and regulations that are put out by our countries, to stay in your homes, work and go home, work at home. That's kind of what it is, no in between. And it is paying dividends here in North America, I can tell you for sure. Because just like I go into telling you, the numbers are going down from what they anticipated. You know, although they set the marker high, and there's a great lesson in that. Hakui talked about in his lecture what's going on with the leadership here in North America. You know, that there's a great lesson in that. There's a great lesson in setting the bar high. And even though the bar may not hit where you think it may hit, let me put it into layman's terms for you. Say like, for instance, how many of you in this room, your desire, one of your affirmations is to be either a six-figure income, millionaire, or billionaire? Anybody? Put up a capital M for money if that's you. If that's part of your aspirations. If you actually desire that for yourself, you actually scripted it down. Okay, you got million, okay, Bukashim. Now, let's just look at this. That's your marker. Say that's your mark. Okay, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be a billionaire. I want to work from home and be self-sufficient. I am working from home and being self-sufficient. I am working from home and making a lot of money. I am working from home and doing great things and helping others. However you write your script. I mean, there's so many ways you can go with it, as Queen was giving an example. Okay, so that's your marker, million. All right, say like, and you write your affirmations, you're doing your scripting, your visualization, and on day 15 of the month, for instance, my goodness, you go into the gas station to get your gas, and you just happen to, you have an urge to want to get a scratch-off card. You get a scratch-off card, and you win $100,000. I mean, it's not that million. How many of you are going to be sad that you win $100,000 and you didn't hit that mark of $1 million? You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, it's good to set the mark high, but don't be discouraged if you don't meet that mark to the T. Knowing that, you still, time is not a friend of yours. So you have the rest of your lifetime and in the next life, in the life to come back to attain wherever you want to go if you just so happen to miss that mark. So don't be disappointed. And I'm pretty sure, that, Trump and all the people that he has around him, they're quite happy that they're not hitting that, 2 million mark as far as deaths are concerned. Because, we're shooting out numbers, but when it comes to this virus, you have to understand that each number represents a what? Represents a person. This is somebody's family. This is somebody's mother. This is somebody's father. This is somebody's son. This is somebody's daughter. When you get to the grits and the greens of it. Let's put politics to the side for 1 minute. You know what I mean? But when you get to the grits and the greens of it, let's look at it. The meats and potatoes. That's somebody's daughter, somebody's father, somebody's son, somebody's mother. That, when you talk about these numbers. So again, we give thanks, Baruch Hashem, for the protection and the covering that we do have. So yeah, set your marks high, but don't get discouraged because you may be affirming with your energy at a particular level that may not be exactly what that marker is you want to hit. That don't mean you erase the marker. Don't erase the $1 million marker. Whatever you do, y'all forbid that you do that. But because get this, look at that $100,000 as like a stepping stool or an elevation to get you to the million. You understand what I'm saying? So, Baruch Hashem. So, you can anticipate, and I hope you all are anticipating, I don't hope, but my desire is that all of you are anticipating winning battles to win the war. So that $100,000 would be like a battle. That's going to facilitate you in winning the war and hitting that mark of $1 million. You get it? Because guess what? Can you imagine, and I know you can't, imagine what you can do with $100 million on your goal to reach, with $100,000 on your goal to reach $1 million. I mean, my goodness. You can just invest half of that in the stock market and get there a lot quicker. To your goal, to that mark of $1 million. You understand what I'm saying? So don't discount the little steps that you're actually manifesting to get you to the major mark. You understand what I'm saying? That's important. That's important because just like energy, we need fuel. fuel to run your automobile. If there's no fuel to run your automobile, then your automobile won't run. It may be nice and shiny, have nice wheels on there, may throw some rims on it, but if you don't have no fuel, you're not going anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, luxury price, they put some spinners on there. You know, but again, if there's no fuel in it, then it won't go anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? So use and anticipate and be on the lookout, be on guard for the steps that you're taking to get to your mark. You understand what I'm saying? How many of you realize that you're taking steps to get to your mark, whatever it may be? It may be a monetary mark, a relationship mark. All right, let's look at a relationship mark. Let me give you an example of that. Say like you're looking for a husband. You want a husband. You desire a husband. You're gonna have a husband, just like you want him. But what would be? Give me an example of what would be a step and get to that husband. How about going and get your nails done? That's a step to get that husband, isn't it? How about ordering that nice wardrobe or that nice lingerie? That may be a step to get a husband. See what I'm saying? How about getting your hair done? That might be a step. Some of you, it may be, plastic surgery, if that's what you desire. If you want those big breasts, that big butt and a smile, if that's what you want to do to attract that man to you, and men in the room, come on, let's be honest and be fair. How many of you are attracted to a big butt and a smile? Men in the room? Any big butts and a smile? And how many of you are attracted? There you go. So if a woman is doing all of these necessaries to get there, let me put another big word with that, breasts. Some men like big breasts. Some men like, big butts. And so if a woman does these things, takes these actions to, entice, to engage in a relationship with someone of the opposite sex, then so be it. Now, not that that's the end all, but again, the Master has given us two eyes so that we can see, right? How many of you, and then there's a third eye for those of you who have awesome understanding and wisdom. So, with all these eyes that we have, what are we supposed to do with them? Are we supposed to blindfold them? No, use them to see. But, again, some of us have been conditioned so long to think, you're lusting, Rabbi. Stop lusting. How many that thought flew through your head? Oh, I know you Christians in Rome, especially you Catholics. Oh, no, Rabbi, that's lust. You come out of the Catholicism of Christianity, you say, this rabbi is lusting. The Bible says don't lust after flesh. Oh, my goodness. No, you're supposed to look. Baruch Hashem. So again, I think it's important to understand that. So whatever you have to do, take the necessary steps. You see, because in the spirit of our Passover, in all of our high holy days, our high festivals, our high holy days and our feast days, all of them, when you look at it, and I wrote this down, and I'm going to piggyback off what Hakoi was talking about earlier. I wrote this down, that the Passover and all of the events in our history, they're moments, right? They're moments. That's a moment. Passover was a moment in history, correct? That we remember. It was a moment. Passover is a moment. All of our festivals are moments in history for us to remember. And not only in our way of life, but when you look at it as a whole, you look at it and as world over, is that, look at life. It's just but a moment. Think about it for a minute. Life is just a moment. It's many moments piled up on one another. Now, when you look at Passover, the Passover was a moment for us to do what? For us to move. And I'm telling you, this came to me this morning from the Mother Wisdom, from the Imokma, the Ruach HaKadosh. I tell her, say, what do I need to tell the people? What do we need? What's the direction that's coming in from Mother Wisdom? Is that there's always a moment, but then with that moment is a movement. And Israel is always in moment and movement mode. A lot of M words today, Mishpah. Yeah. Pay close attention to this, because Here, if you're here in North America, not only North America, but around the world, do you understand that the coronavirus right now is a moment? How many of you understand that? That the coronavirus is a moment in history that's going to be recorded. I'm telling you, you all are witnessing history right now, wherever you sit, wherever you're laying down, wherever you're standing right now is a moment. And I was going to give me some YouTube videos to look at, and I truly appreciate them. It's pretty very good, But while I was on YouTube, you know what I did? I had a mind to go back and look at videos that, I put out or Hakoi put out way back when. And those were moments in time that you can go look on YouTube right now where me and Hakoi are in my base and we're doing videos together. I mean, it's years ago. And again, I'm going to piggyback off that in a minute. Don't let me lose that moment or that thought. I'm not going to lose that thought. But I think it's important for us to understand that our lives are just chock-a-block full of moments. Now, the question is, what kind of movement are you going to have? The moment of the Passover, Israel had to get up and move. They had to decide to want to move. They had to want to move. Did you hear the president? How many of you are diligently watching the president's briefings daily? He's having them daily. I tell you, he's like the only president I know of that speaks to the people daily. And my wife from China, she's like, my goodness, I've never seen a president just talk to the people every day like this. And definitely, Xi Jinping doesn't do this. She finds that so refreshing. But if you heard him in his speech, and I like to listen to him, because listen, whether you like him or not, put politics to the side. He is the president for this moment. I don't know if you all realize this, but he is our president at this moment. I'm telling you, he is. Whether you like him or not, and the presidents of your country, whether you like him or not, God has put him in this position. Powers, presence has put him in this position now. And he is, at this moment, the President of the United States of America. And one of the things that he said is, you know what? I'm getting ready. How many of you heard him? He said, and he was saying this in all humility. He's like, I'm getting ready to make one of the biggest decisions of my life. How many of you heard him say that? He said, I have a big decision to make. Wow. You heard him, luxury class? That really stuck out to me when he said that. He was like, and he reiterated it several times. How many of you heard him? He was like, right, Hakoi? He said, I have one of the biggest decisions that I'm going to make in my life. What is he talking about? Opening up the country. That's a big decision. To open up the country after a big plague, this big pandemic, to open the country back up so we can start getting productive again and moving and grooving. Like we were before, well-oiled machines, you see. Regardless of, your thought process on it, listen, random person, the coronavirus is no hoax. These numbers of people that are dying, in all respect, please respect that. Please have a respect for humanity. And don't call this no hoax when you got people dying. That's totally disrespectful, you see. It doesn't matter, flu or whatever, but that's just totally disrespectful. Yeah, people are dying of the flu too. But you see, the flu hadn't shut down an economy. Let's face it, you see. So, let's get real. Whether you want to call it whatever, corona, flu, whatever, people are dying. At the end of the day, have some respect for that. Out of the respect for people. At the end of the day, I'm not here to get political, but we got to look at the hardcore facts and be real with ourselves. And you know what? Give thanks, random person, too, that you don't have the corona this day. That you are whole and complete. How about doing that? See, it's easy to get behind a keyboard and start typing, become a keyboard warrior and start typing all of this mumbo-jumbo. But out of respect for those people who have lost their life and the family members who have lost a loved one behind a coronavirus, let's not go there with this hoax and conspiracy theory. There's no time for that mumbo-jumbo. There's no time for that. You see? You can take that and open up your own room. let's get back to what the president was talking about. The president was talking about, look, I'm going to make one of the biggest decisions of my life. And I want you all to understand this because this is historical. And what the president is doing is based on, our history as Jews and how our government, the Torah government, operated. He's doing the same thing. Because what else did he say? He said this. He said, this is a very big decision, and I'm going to have one of the toughest decisions, one of the biggest decisions I'm about to make in my life. And you know what else he said? How many of you heard him? He said this. He said this. I've surrounded myself with some of the wisest people. He said, I'm not making the decision by myself, and I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, I surrounded myself with advisors to advise me on when is the best opportunity to open up the country. Now, I totally agree with Akohi, coming from a medical background myself. You see, when you get advisors that's just based on medicine, of course they're going to be what? They're going to be prone to lean more on the medical side, not understanding that there's an economy and a world to run. Because at the end of the day, a doctor's mandate and a doctor's got his degree in medicine, not in how to run an economy, and not in how to keep and manage a country. You understand what I'm saying? So there's going to be medical bias. So on his advising team, he needs to balance that out. You understand? Don't go too heavy medical and then too less on the economy side. You know what I mean? Those that are good crunching the numbers. And making dollars out of cents. And making $1 out of 15 cents. You get it? So there needs to be a balance there. The same way in our history, our great kings from King Solomon to King David, you know what they had behind them? Great counsel. Great counsel. They had wise counsel that was directed and guided in the form of what? Not in the form of, again, not in the form of what we see today, but in the form of our priesthood, the Kohanim. That's very important to look at and examine. So there's a big decision even in this moment that we're in right now. There's gonna be movement. And even with the President of the United States of America, he understands that, the country can't stay stagnated forever. There's going to have to be a time where we reopen and we carry on. We carry on like that well-oiled machine that we are. And, that's a great question. I'm going to pose the great question coming forward. It's like, why has the blessings left Israel and come to America? Everybody has their hand out for everybody. Lottie-dottie, all these countries. All of these countries do. And if you don't worry. We'll get it and we'll do it ourselves. Because there's some countries that refuse and actually threaten not to help us. And actually threaten to do damage during this time to keep us when we so-called proverbially down. Oh, they too will be remembered as well. Believe me, they too will be remembered. But all countries are reaching out. You hear the president talking about it. Yeah, we have an abundance of this, abundance of ventilators, abundance of all these things, all this great technology. We're coming out with where you can recycle these N94 whatever masks. You can reuse them and sterilize them and use them 20 times over. All of this great innovation. You're watching this innovation happen where you see the government coming along with the private sector, and guess what they're doing? They're doing marvelous things. You're seeing great innovation come out of this. How many of you are watching and witnesses to it? I am. And it's beautiful to behold. But there's a big decision coming by the President of the United States. So let's kick that down a few notches. There's a big decision coming for you as well. In your moment. Right now, there could be a moment. How many of you in the process of a moment or a move? How many of you right now move? You got to make a move. There's a move that you have to make, or you're making that move right now. I would encourage you, don't stay stagnated. Stagnation, listen, that's not in our history to be stagnated. When we left Egypt, did we stop moving? We rested for a minute, but then we got back up and we kept moving. Israel is always on the move. I want you to understand that. Some people are saying, because the government is giving out all this free money, people are getting paid to stay home, and people are not going to want to have the mentality to go back to work. I submit to you not. Yeah, there may be some knuckleheads that still want to, just leech off the system, but the majority of people going to want to get back and make an honest living and work and sweat for just like we're told in our books. It's to toil and work for your meat. That's Genesis. So you're going to run into some of that, the knuckleheads out there. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably seen some of the scams where people are trying to profit and, by, illegitimate means off of the coronavirus and, setting up all of these scams, and people are being scammed left, right, front, and center. It's because it's easy right now because people are in fear. You throw a number of 2 million people dying a year in America, do you think people are going to be fearful? Fear takes you down a rabbit hole that you do not want to go down. Because fear will take you down a rabbit hole of what? Conspiracy theory. That's being one of those biggest ones right there. I tell you what. Conspiracy theory. While I let Pharaoh out. Conspiracy theory, Pharaoh. Conspiracy theory. That's number one. And then, another thing fear will do? Fear will make you make terrible, horrible decisions. Because fear will leave you in a state of no counsel, much less some wise counsel. You'll have no counsel because you'll just be doing things off the cuff. I see that in the stock market. When all this stuff kicked down, people got fearful and pulled their money out, put it under their mattress. That's one of the worst things you could have done. You should have just hung in there. Matter of fact, you should have been added on while everything's on discount. Just total opposite. But people, you see, they don't think. They don't think realistically, rationally. You see? And that's just what happens. That's just what happens. Moments in life will make you want to, have to, need to move. Not stay stagnant. That's the worst thing you could do. Sometimes it's appropriate to sit back and wait. Because, like the lion that I am, that's what I do. Well, that's what lions do when it comes to seeking out their prey. They just don't sit there running around, tiptoeing through the tulips, going through the jungles and the forest. No, they lay in wait. But when that moment comes to where they see that big old leg quarter, when that moment comes and they see that big old leg quarter, and that leg quarter comes in sight, then they pounce. And more times, and 9 times out of 10, it's the lionesses that's doing the pouncing. And the lion just comes in afterwards and cleans up. So you must, in that moment, when I say moment, and that movement is like the pounce, where you jump on the opportunity. And I'm telling you, there's many, many opportunities out here that you do not want to miss. All of you, listen to me on YouTube, listen to live, doesn't matter. There's many opportunities that you want to be a participant in. And there's more to come. Believe me. Don't look at it. I'm telling you, there's more to come. This year, you're going to have some great opportunities. Oh, my goodness. There's going to be some great opportunities for you. But when those opportunities come, you have to pounce. And like luxury class say another few words. Don't be paralyzed, but pounce on it. Wait for the opportunity. Surround yourself with wise counsel, Israel. And for you, coming from the tribe of Judah, I'm telling you right now, your counsel needs to be who? The sons of Aaron. More specifically, Rabbi Simon Altab. Now, you look on YouTube, as I went back and I was looking at in the archives on YouTube, because my wife was like, right now, we're getting another house. Baruch Hashem, bigger house. Nachshon gonna need his own room here. He's 7 months. He's gonna be 7 months this month. My goodness, he's gonna be 7 months, so he needs his own room. Well, Nachshon's old room. Well, my old video room. I have this big light. I have the camera lights, and they're real bright. My wife come in last night. Oh, honey, why is the light so bright in this room? I said, so Nachshon can get a suntan. I'm just joking. But I was like, no, honey. This is the room that I used to use to do my recordings for YouTube. She's like, huh? You on YouTube? Blah, 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 blah. So I went back and I showed her some footage of me and Hakohen together. I did some Lion Den. I had a segment called The Lion's Den with Rabbi Kefa. So anyway, I had that segment going for a little while. It's just put on hold right now. See, the Lion Den has some cubs now. So, Lion Den had to be put on, because it's got a little cub here now, Baruch Hashem. Totally part of my desire, by the way. But I had to put that on hold for a minute, but it's on hold. So my wife was like, why is his light so bright in here, honey? So I told her I was on YouTube and this and that. She's like, you on YouTube? I'm like, yeah. I made videos on YouTube. So, now she think I'm this movie star, Baruch Hashem. Add it to the list. Wonderful relationship. That's a part of my desires and my affirmations. That I have a wonderful relationship with my wife. It is wonderful, and yes, it is. So, when I'm looking at these videos, and my goodness, I'm so happy and humbled to be able to do it. It's historical. These are moments in my history, and my history with the Kohen, where we're together, making videos, and we're telling Israel. We're bringing the facts on the ground. We're bringing, the facts, not these troops out here, but the facts coming out. I'm like, wow, those were good times on top of great ones to come. But at the same time, I'm seeing all these other videos, and it brings me, and I'm going to segue right into our reading for the day. And we're going to come out of the renewed contract, or what they call the New Covenant, New Testament, however you want to put the name on it. We read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. And I'm going to read from the book of Luke, chapter 22. Luke, chapter 22, starting at verse 1. And now the Moed, the celebration of unleavened bread, drew near, which is called the protection, or what they call the Passover, the festival of unleavened bread. They together, right? They come synonymous back to back. It's called and I'm telling you, this is probably the only translation, Abrahamic-Faith Bible, where you hear it called which is called the protection, mercy, salvation, and Passover, Baruch Hashem. Look at verse 2. And the chief Kohanim and the experts in the Torah sought out how they might kill him, but they feared the people. Kill who? My goodness, that's a mouthful right there. You're talking about the chief of the Kohanim. What did Hakohen just talk about? What did he just talk about? That there were how many clans of Kohen? The chief of the Kohanim, and who? The experts in the Torah. At the same time we celebrate the Passover protection, they out to kill a man. They set up to, instead of protection, they set it up to do murder. Now, we're not talking about the Gentile on the street. We're talking about those within, quote unquote, the umbrella of the Torah. They're plotting to kill a man during the festival of the Passover and unleavened bread. That's their thinking and mindset. Wow. What does that tell you about religion? What does that tell you about religion? Regardless of if the man's the Messiah or not, you realize that at this time there was so much blood-boiling hatred towards a man to where their thoughts wasn't on the Passover of the mighty right hand of the Most High, put the smack down on Egypt. No, they trying to put the smack down on a family member and kill them. Think about where their mind is right now, Mishpah. Mindset. It's everything, isn't it? It's everything. I always talked about it during the lecture. How you believe what you believe in. Look at verse 3. Then Satan entered into Yahudah, surnamed Koroth, or who also is known as what? Judas Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. And he went his way and commuted with the chief Kohanim and the captains. What clan do you think these people came from when they talk about the chief of the Kohanim? You think they were Pharisees? Sadducees? What's your thoughts on that, Mishpah? After you just got a great bit of history about the different clans and the rivalry, or the, let's just say, the disagreements that happened between these two. Now, I'm not saying it's because everybody want to class all the Pharisees as bad. You can't do that. You can't. Not all of them were bad, but a majority of them were. They were bad, meaning they were unrighteous in their thought process. I could kill a man right now. A rabbi, by the way, who taught in the temple, Mishpah. They wanted to kill this man. Now, do you kill a man because you love him? Can anybody answer me that question? Do you kill a person because you love them? No, it's totally opposite. You have a different kind of energy towards that person. One of hatred, one of maybe jealousy. And then again, luxury class, it may be a political thing as well. Because at this time, everything that was going on in the temple was basically politics. Money under the table, behind the scenes. Everybody trying to get what? Money and power. Reminds me of one of my favorite movies. What's the one with, what's the name of the movie? Where he comes from Colombia. Anybody knows it? He talks about more money, more power. What's the name of that movie? I know you all know. Somebody see it besides myself. But again, you see that where, it's all about money and power. How about the graciousness and good? There you go, Scarface. I know somebody besides myself. Big Scarface fan. But that's what's going on behind the scenes at this time. Passover protection, forget about that. Let's talk about getting some power. Let's talk about keeping our power system and structure in order. Because when the master came on the scene, oh man, he was totally opposite of that. He wasn't about power. He was about the people. He was about, man, we got to get Israel right because Israel has went astray. We need to wake up Israel and put them back in their rightful place of who they really are. Because it's been, the way of life that Abraham knew had been watered down at this time, truly watered down. And the master came to fix that. Just like I see in these videos on YouTube. How I didn't even waste my energy on Kohen watching the videos, but I was just looking at the titles. Rabbi Simon is not a Kohen. I'm like, my goodness. And then you could tell, just all the negativity. I was like, my goodness, do you guys not know? And it brought me to this right here. I was like, wow, these same people. Because they have their own agenda, they want to keep their own certain likes or whatever, boom, boom. They have their own jealousy, or they have their own way of thinking that's totally opposite of how Israel really is supposed to live. So, what do? Continue with their teachings? No, they don't. No, they want to sit here and condemn a man, put him down for not being in agreement with him, or totally taking him in a new direction. But the question is for all of Israel. And for those of you listening via YouTube, I tell you the same thing. For all of Israel, who are you supposed to listen to? You see? Who is in your counsel? Because you know what's important? I wrote this down. Who is around you? Who do you have around you? I heard the president talk about this. He said, I have some great people around me. I have some of the smartest people in the world around me. It's good counsel to have. But at the end of the day, just like he said, you have to make that decision. That moment, it boils down, and the climax, it comes to you where you have to make that decision. You have to make that decision in that moment. Surround yourself with right and wise people around you, Mishpah. That's key. That's going to help you make some great decisions in your life, for your life, so you can have a great life. But if you don't surround yourself with these kind of people, then you're not going to have a good life. That's just in a nutshell. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be angry. You're going to be anxiety. You're going to be full of anxiety, full of frustration, full of worrying, full of conspiracy theory. And that just takes you down a rabbit hole of negativity and a waste of great energy. You're great energy. And if you don't believe it, you need to affirm it. Write it down. Script it. I am great energy. I am positive energy. Be it. And if you can't be it, say it, and you will be it. But quit saying all of this negativity here, there, and everywhere. I tell you, I'm never leaving the Kohen. Never. Because it's not so much what the Kohen says, it's what he does. And what he says, if you put it into practice, will become full-fledged physical. I'm telling you, all these P words. I'm telling you, put it into practice, it'll become full-fledged physical. And I'm talking from my own life. Own experience, it will be, but you have to put it into practice. It's the evidence on the ground that I'm concerned with. Let's look at the numbers at the end of the day. Everybody's blowing you a lot of hot air. Everybody's got snake oil. But what really works, put it to work, Mishpah. And that's what I love about this president for this time. Is, yeah, he does a lot of tweets, this and that, but he backs it up with the works. The evidence is there. Greatest economy in the world. Self-sufficient when it comes to natural resources. We didn't depend on anybody. America doesn't have its hand out. Israel does. Israel, for years, has had its hand out from everybody. Playing on the sympathies. Oh, Israel, we God's people. Can you help us? You know, I see these videos, I see these commercials on TV. Oh, can you help these Jews? Can you help them out in Russia? Can you send some money and put them a food box together? And I'm like, yeah, Israel. Where are the works? Where are the deeds? And not just the words. You're Israel, Mishpah. And I say it in all humbleness and all happiness as well. Because you're going to find out in life, just like I couldn't give you examples of this morning in his lecture. Examples of people that have had longevity in their life. And I firmly believe one of the keys to it is just to be happy. Through Corona, be happy. Through Mona, be happy. Mona Lisa, Mona, your wife, be happy. Through Mark, be happy. It doesn't, just be happy. Don't worry. Many of you could, who sings that song? Don't worry, be happy. That's real. If you take them words and apply them in your life, don't worry about foreclosure. Don't worry about not just be happy throughout. Oh, that's easier said than done, Rabbi. Yes, it is. That's why it's called life. You have a decision to make in this moment. Are you going to be happy? You're going to go through this happy, or you're going to go through doom and gloom and conspiracy theory and disaster and rapture and blah, blah, blah. That's another rabbit hole you want to go. I don't have time for that. I'm too busy with being happy and enjoying every little thing in the life and not, they're saying everything is a hoax. Hoax, humbug, I'm happy. Forget a hoax. People dying, that's no hoax, that's real. And not many people come back from death as in a resurrection, like a Lazarus. Yeah, they may come back in reincarnation, Bukashim. But, when the last time you see somebody raised from the dead? Enjoy this life while you're here. Life on this earth is for us to dominate. We've been given dominion. How come we're not dominating? Some people are. Those billionaires and millionaires, they dominated, baby. They're taking full advantage of life. And I will encourage you all to keep it positive. If you negative, then keep it positive around you. Surround yourself with positivity, and it will permeate. All these keywords today. It will begin to permeate. And you too will become a positive person. And a positive person is a person that's at peace. Newsflash. I'm pretty sure the energy of worry at this time truly is going to try to creep in. At this moment. This is why I want to infuse you with more positivity. Surround yourself with positive people. Take counsel from wise people. Peaceful people. Not these hate groups on YouTube. They're going to hate you for this, hate you for you not this. They're going to say all of these things against you when they haven't lived one day in your shoes. They're going to put you down and try to run you under the bus, not even knowing who you are. But they're going to tell you who they are, who you are. They don't even know who you are. There's no time for it. You're too busy trying to be a light to the world that you're living in. So back to our readings in the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, Book of Shem. So we see, we're preparing for the Passover, the setup is there. They have this, they setting up this plan. Instead of, festival of protection, this is the festival of planning for these wicked, evil people. Verse 4 tells us in 22 of Luke, and he went his way and communed with the chief Kohanim and the captains how they might betray him to them. and they were glad and arranged to give him money. You see, some people are only happy. How many of you know people like this as students of nature? Some people are only happy and glad when there's suffering going on with somebody else, or somebody else is having drama or hardship, and they get happy then. I see people like this, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. They're happy to give you bad report. How many of you know people like that? They're totally happy. They come to you, hi, did you hear that so-and-so died? Did you hear that, did you hear that, he lost his job? Did you hear that they getting a divorce? I tell you, they totally happy behind that. They get happy when drama kicks off. But when everything's fine, when everything's at peace, and everybody's at love, and the world is in harmony, they full of hate. They full of hatred. But happy to see death and destruction and disaster. Oh, did you see that car accident? Oh, wait! Wow! I'm like, my goodness. How are you wired, sir? How are you arranged? It's more like deranged instead of arranged. When you run into people like this, family members, loved ones, friends, maybe some of you, maybe even your spouse, they're this way. They come to you not with glad tidings, they come to you bringing doom and gloom. Oh, wow. Oh, this many people supposed to die. Death and destruction. I'm like, so what? How you living? Come on now. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of it. How's your life? Are you dying? And that's the problem with humanity. Many folks want to, they put all their focus on other things outside of themselves instead of getting down and dealing with themselves. I'm going to show me this video of this guy. I guess he has his own show, but now he's doing it from home. And one of the last things he said in one of his videos was this. He said this. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, now that you have a lot of time with, Noah Trevor, great show. He said, now that you have a lot of time with yourself, I hope you begin to listen to yourself, those inner thoughts. Start to listen to them now because you have all this time with yourself at home. And I'm paraphrasing, but he said it on that thought. Like, start to listen to those thoughts, those inner thoughts that you have now, that you've been neglecting. Now is a great time to start listening to those thoughts. And I totally agree. I'm like, Booker Shem, what a great time. This is one of the blessings of the corona. And there's many of them, by the way. That you have time for yourself. You have time for your family. Now, what the corona did with relationships as well, according to divorce is happening in NYC and of course China. See, I'm just gonna bring that topic up as well. And just like you have time to, with your families and friends, it goes both ways. And for me, what I see the corona doing, it was going to speed up a divorce that was going to happen anyway. You know what I mean? It's just sped up. Because now you have to look at that woman, that man, all day long, all day strong, in four walls of your house, and you're like, man, I really realized how much I didn't want to be with you. You see? Or just the opposite side of, you know what? I really realized how much I love you and how much I love my family and how important my family really is. So do you see how it goes both ways? You see how it goes both ways? But at the same time, so corona is just speeding up divorces that was already going to happen anyway. Inevitable. So corona just put them in your face sooner than later. You know what I mean? So this is what it is. Same way in China, same way all over the world. Because what you're going to find as students of nature is that families are going to come close together or families are going to come further apart. That's just what's going to happen when you live in the confines closely together like this. We're human beings. This is what's going to happen. This is human nature. Either you're going to live with the clan or you're going to be excommunicated from the clan. Either you're going to live with the pride, as lions do. You're going to stay with the pride, play your role, do your part with the pride, and if you don't agree with the pride, then we're going to kick your butt out. You're going to be excommunicated. Go start your own pride. Go make it on your own, by yourself, and for yourself, and be with yourself, and hopefully you'll learn to love yourself. But if you want to stay with the pride, then that being closely together is going to bring you even more closely together. And for a lot of folks, they realize how important their family really is now, because they actually get to spend time with them. And having a newborn baby at home now, I see it myself. Man, Nakshan, every day I come home from work, Nakshan has changed. He's growing. My wife told me last night, you know, Nakshan, he's changing every day. I was like, yeah, more like every minute. 7 months old now, and he's just changing. He said, I see his face changing every day. It's like, yeah, go for him. I give thanks. But just to be able to sit here and see it, and not have to be on that 9 to 5, and not have to be out there making money for the man, but making money for yourself. I'm all about that, Mishpachah. I'm a Jew. I am the man. I sit next to the man, and I am the man. I never. It's just never been in my nature to want to make money for somebody else. I just want to make money for myself. I can do that by myself. Let me do it by myself. Let me be responsible. I have that kind of mindset. How many of you have that kind of mindset as well? Is that you don't want to make money for other people. Yeah, you know, you making money for other people, but how much of that money is coming back to you? You know, what's the ratio? I want to make money for myself. Jay, y'all put all kind of one. But that's who I am. That's in my DNA. Because I have the DNA of El Shaddai. I want to start businesses for myself, and I am doing business for myself, by myself. I don't want to, why am I be out here blood, sweat, and tears for the man? And he's getting all the money, and what am I getting? He's throwing me some table scraps? No. Israel, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? That's from the Lion King, by the way. Israel, do you really know who you are? I mean, didn't we celebrate the festival of protection? Now, last time I checked, the reason why we left that place is because we was making money for the man, weren't we? The Hebrews were making money for the man off of our blood, sweat, tears, and bodies. Death to the death. We were making money for Egypt. We were making Egypt wealthy, building infrastructure like crazy. I mean, Hebrews did that. So if you know, when we came out of Egypt, did we not get some reparations? We all came out. I mean, they just gave us whatever we wanted. Here, take this, get out of here. Just take it. Whatever you want, take it. Gold, jewelry, silver, take it. Just go. Get out. With shells. So lose that mentality of dependence on the man. You don't need that. You are the man. You are the woman. You are so creative. You're inventive. You bring so much to the table for this world. But you can't see it for the trees of conspiracy. Oh, the man keeping me down. Massa still got me in the chains and in picking cotton. If that's where you want to be, listen. I don't call myself an African American. I had a discussion with somebody about this the other day. I'm not African American. Don't call me that. I'm a Hebrew here in America. I never picked cotton in my life. How many of you in this room pick cotton in your life? Anybody? But see, if you ever pick some cotton on somebody's plantation, I never done that. I don't even know how to do that. So why am I going to sit here, resurrecting something that I'm not? You understand what I'm saying? YouTubers, get it. Please get it. Because there's a lot of these so-called leaders out there that you following, that you have around you, that are keeping you in this mode of slavery and being enslaved and being and happy to be in bondage and happy to be in slavery. No, that's not me. That's not me. Lose that mode. Lose that identity. That's not me. That's not you, Israel. I'm a servant to the Most High, not a slave to the man. Come on now. I'm a servant to the Most High. Not a slave to the man. I tell you, the Charlton Heston movie, I watch it every Passover. That's like tradition in my home. And I love when Moses goes in there with Aaron, and everybody's giving their libations to Pharaoh, and they call it a name. This one from this is the emissaries from this in this country. And then Moses gets up there with Aaron. It's like, well, the man says, well, who do you represent? He's like, I represent the kingdom of the Most High. I was like, look at him. I tell you, that gives me goosebumps every time I hear him say that. He said, I'm here representing the kingdom of the Most High. I'll tell you what, if you haven't watched it, watch it. I'm telling you, it's long, but you watch it. You put it in a second, but Charlton Heston said, I represent the kingdom of the Most High. And you know what? That sticks with me. That's who I represent, the king. I'm not here representing somebody's plantation. To have a company, you need people to run the company. I get that. To have a business, you have to have people that support the business and operate the business. But I am the business. I'm not the people supporting the business. You get it? That's where I'm going with that. Now, listen. We talked about happiness and how important happiness is. Now, you happy being a supporter of the business? I say, for sure. How many of you in this room want to be, alright, if you want to be the business, put up a B, or you want to be the supporter of a business, put up an S? Because listen, maybe it's you affirm to be a supporter of a business. Hey, if that's you, I'm happy for you. If that makes you happy. But if you want to be the business, then be the business. You see, a lot of people put themselves down as, the servant to the business, as the supporter of the business, yet at the same time they're complaining about the business. So maybe you need to get out of that business and maybe do your own business where you don't complain and where you do find happiness, and you're not all depressed and all you're all unhappy because you have this particular business that you support that you're not happy doing. Do what makes you happy. You want one of the keys to longevity in life? I'm telling you, that is it right there. And you know what is for me? You know what makes me happy? Being with my family makes me happy. I tell you, I never told you this, but having conversations with you daily, that makes me happy. Being with my family every day, that makes me happy. And even if our conversation is just like text message, that makes me totally happy. I'm so happy that the Kohen, he takes time out of his schedule. Shoot me a text or just have a little quick chat, blah, blah, blah. Being with my family, oh man, that makes me so happy. So happy. I'm complete. I am whole. I love that. We were all together last night. I tell you, it's just so beautiful because, I got Sean in my arm, my wife here playing in my hair, my daughter's playing the piano, and Pharaoh's there licking his chops. I'm like, man, it was just a moment. I was like, man, this is beautiful. Life is wonderful. You know what I mean? And we just the confines of our home. And just so much energy of just completeness, because I am whole and I am complete. So that was just the picture of it. Are you with me, Miss Mahal? That was the picture of it. Picture perfect. Picture of it. Shalom, Pharaoh. Shabbat shalom, Pharaoh. Pharaoh's in the house. Okay, Pharaoh. On cue. Pharaoh's looking for chocolate, so he comes to father for chocolate. You're a smart dog. So it's very important that we understand that. It's very, very important. Is that, you have to find what makes you happy in this life, now, in this moment. Ask yourself what makes you happy, and then start to affirm it. Start to visualize it, and it will be. I'm telling you, money makes me very, very happy. And me and money have a friendship that's going to last forever. I'm attracted to money, and money is attracted to me. That makes me happy. A beautiful, fine wife makes me happy. Loyal, that makes me happy. I have that, and I'm totally happy, Miss Bob. At the end of the day, you have to find out what makes you happy and affirm it. In this moment, affirm it. And then put it into motion. You must put it into motion. Do you understand Israel? You're always moving. You're always moving. Yeah, you may have rest periods, like today is what we consider a rest period, right? It's the Shabbat. It's a day of rest. But other than that, what are we doing? We're moving. We're always constantly moving, Mishpah. Moving. Now, how you move, that's on you. How do you want to move? That's on you. But I want to show you something in this reading that we're reading about. We see that they're glad, and again, let's go back to our reading in Luke chapter 22. Look at verse, let's pick it up at verse 5 again of 22 of Luke. And they were glad and arranged to give him money, and he promised and sought opportunity to betray him to them in the absence of the multitude. Then came the day of the unleavened bread, when the mercy, salvation, and Passover must be killed. And he sent Kefa and Yohanan, or John, saying, go and prepare for us the mercy, salvation, and Passover, that we may eat. And they said to him, where do you want us to prepare? And he said to them, behold, now get this. You want to talk about visualization? Here it is right here. The master was doing it, but many people don't see it. Look, listen to what he said. And he said to them, behold, when you have entered into the city, there shall be a man to meet you, bearing a picture of Ma'im. Follow him to the Brit, the house where he enters in. What is that? Do you not? I want you to see this. This is visualization. Listen, this hadn't happened yet. But the master's already, he's visualizing it. Do you see it? I mean, put up a capital V if you see this now. Because the master's giving you the complete layout of how he wants it to happen. Do you see it? Tada, Oliver, for seeing it. The master's visualizing this. I never, Tada, for your response is coming in now. But I was like, wow, that's a miracle that he did that. No, that's visualization. I always thought of it as a Christian word. That's a miracle. How could he lay out exactly to his disciples or his rabbis and his students how it was going to happen before it even happened? And it happened the same way he said it was going to happen. This is why the Kohen is telling you to visualize, 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 visualize. See it. And you will be it. See yourself in there. In the visualization. Listen how it's laid out. It's so beautiful. And then after we read it, you'll say, yeah, that's just visualization. That's what the Master Yeshua was doing. And he says, and when you enter into the city, you shall see a man, and there shall a man meet you, bearing a picture of Ma'im. Follow him into the Beit, the house where he enters in. And you shall say to the owner of the Beit, the rabbi said to you, where is the guest chamber where I shall eat the mercy, salvation, and Passover with my disciples? He shall show you a large upper room furnished. There make ready. And they, listen to this, look at verse 13. And they went and found as he said to them, and they made ready the mercy, salvation, and Passover. And when the hour came, he sat down, and the 12 emissaries with him, and he said to them, look at verse 15. I want you to clue in on it and listen. Everything happened just like he told his disciples. I want you to key in on that. The master visualized it happening, and it happened just like he told his disciples, students, rabbis. Just like he told them. Everything happened. Now they're sitting down at the table. Now verse 15 is key. That's what I'm going to stop at, verse 15. But that's key right there. Because verse 15 says, and he said to them, with desire. What's the word? With desire. That's why I don't hope no more. I desire. Hope is a bad word to me. I learned that from my Kohen. With desire, I have desired to eat this mercy, salvation, and Passover with you before I suffer. With desire, the master desired this. That's why I asked you, what do you desire in this moment? It's all about your desire. What do you desire? The master teaching a great lesson to his students, teaching a great lesson to the children of Israel, teaching a great lesson to the world. What do you desire? With desire. If you desire a fine wife, what's wrong with that? You desire a handsome husband, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't let conditioning tell you, oh, that's, I'm lusting. No, you're not. It's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. You make sure that man or woman is not already married, then you're okay. Baruch Hashem. That's innate within you. That's animalistic. You're supposed to do that. Come on, man. With desire, the Master says. I'll read that again because that's juicy. Verse 15 of Luke 22. And he said to them, with desire, I've desired to eat this mercy, salvation, and Passover with you before I suffer. Isn't that beautiful? So you see the visualization? The visualization was that he desired. See, this is why the Kohen is telling you, well, what do you desire? You see? What do you desire? Write it down. Script it. Affirm it. And visualize it. And then it will be in the physical. It will be manifested in the physical. Israel. Do you get it? So, this is what the Passover protection. Now, at the same time, all this going on, and even the Master knew what the suffering was coming. They said they're going to kill him. He knew that already. He had already told him, look, one of you sitting at this table, you're going to betray me. Go do what you have to do. And so it's all played out here. The Master was very clued up. Because why? He was connected to subconscious. He was connected. He knew. Do you see it? You see the visualization there? And the Master did this many times in his life. He visualized things. He visualized it. And they would be just as he saw them. And his what? Visualization. This is why that's so important. The system is laid out before you. You have the counsel that you need. You have the wisest and right counsel to put around you. See, the Passover was an event/moment that required movement. Once you get that, you see, it doesn't, now listen, you go through life with a bunch of movement, but was your movement good for you or was it bad for you most of the time? It depends on what decision you made to move. What decision you made to act. It don't do no good for no lion to start pouncing around in the forest when he's pouncing on nothing. You don't see that leg quarter in front of him, but he's just pouncing. Oh, I'm going to pounce. I'm going to pounce. I'm going to pounce. I'm pouncing. I'm pouncing and pouncing. What is he going to do? He's going to roll all his prey away because he's making too much noise. And that's what you get today. You get a lot of people with a lot of noise on YouTube. But when you're with the Kohen, you're going to learn how to pounce. And you're going to pounce on that leg quarter. You're going to pounce on that brisket. You can tell I'm from Texas. you go pounce on that leg quarter. You go pounce on that brisket. You go pounce on that steak. And when you see the steak, you pounce. Well, how do I see the steak? You start to visualize the steak. You start to visualize that leg quarter, how it's going to taste. You see yourself with that ring on your finger and that knife in your hand. You're cutting that steak. And you got butter on top of it, just like you like it, with all the fixings. Maybe Louisiana hot sauce. I don't know how Kohen made. They want to throw a little vinegar on it. I don't know. But whatever. You see it. You visualize that. And then you pounce. When you see it, you pounce on it. And it becomes real to you. It will become real to you. You gotta visualize it. Gotta stick with the wise counsel. Because there's a lot of hot air out there, man. So much hot air. I'm telling you this. That's gonna detour you from truly having a successful, beautiful, wonderful life. Don't give up on yourselves. Don't give in. Just continue to do what's right in the sight of God. And what's right in the sight of God, what's right for you? What do you desire? The Master's desire was to have the Passover with his students. He visualized it and it happened. And he began to visualize things and tell his students, look, this is what things are going to come. I think his students didn't fully understand it because the things came just like the Master said. And the students just went haywire. They went just haywire, like a sheep without a shepherd. But the Master had been preparing the students. The teacher had been preparing the students and preparing them. You see? So this is what great lessons that we can learn from. Great lessons, neighbor. And I would encourage you all. And I tell you what, let's just Monday morning quarterback something. You're right. I was going to mention this too because I have it in my notes right here. I talked about the big decision that's coming up. All of you have a big decision to make as well when it comes to what's your desire for yourself. Another D word, decision and desire. What's your desire for yourself? Make the decision, in this moment to take movement on your decision, on your desire for yourself. Let's Monday morning quarterback something real quick. Let's talk about the zinc factor. Queen had told us this last Shabbat, and I meant to send him a text this week and say, "Hey, Queen," because I listen to every one of these briefings too that the president puts out. And the president had mentioned zinc, and I was like, man, last Shabbat, Queen had just mentioned zinc to the Mishpachah. He put it out to the family to get zinc. And I found these cool pills on Amazon. They got these nice pills. It's zinc with vitamin C together. I was like, wow. So I got those. I got the family on those as well. Baruch Hashem. It's great. Zinc is good for keeping your cellular structure built up, so nothing can penetrate. So zinc is a great protection in our protection festival at this time, to protect your cells, because what the corona does is it attacks on what? The cellular level. And so if your cell wire was built up, you got that fortress around it, then, corona can't penetrate. So you want to have, zinc incorporated. And if some of you don't like to take the pills, believe me, there's a lot of foods, and you can Google them. Uncle Google will tell you great foods that have great sources of zinc in them already. For those of you who don't like doing the pill route, I get that. But I got these ones that feel like Cody talked about, they dissolve on your tongue, which is great. I always said black people are taught that it won't affect black people. It's already proven false. Indeed, I call it. That was another one in the conspiracy theory community. Oh yeah, this is a punishment of God upon all the white man, so the black people won't get it. That's not true. That's not true. You've seen on TV that's not true. The president is scratching his head. Well, why are black people being more affected? And I like to put this out in closing. You know what I found? Another interesting thing as well, and it patterns along with the history when you talk about the Hebrews that were in Egypt. Now, when they talk about the front lines, you think of doctors, nurses, and, any hospital-related people, right? But at the end of the day, it's these people. Look at, have anybody thought about this? And I heard several opinions about this, and I agree with it. Is that, do you know who's really on the front line here in America? Are the blacks and the browns. And that's why they're more affected, because they're on the front lines. Think about that for a minute. You go to your cashier in your grocery stores, it's the blacks and the browns. The blacks and the browns are still keeping the farming up, because out there picking, it's the blacks and the browns that are on the front lines. You ever thought about that for a minute? So this is why they're highly affected and infected. Number one, they're out on the front lines, and number two, they're not taking the necessary precautions being on the front lines. It's because they're so dedicated into building the country. Does that not sound familiar? Was not Israel and Egypt so dedicated to build that country up? You know how dedicated that they were? That a lot of the Hebrews didn't leave. They were so dedicated they didn't leave. Festival of Passover. Festival of Potato. They didn't leave. Plague hit, firstborn, that didn't faze them. They stayed in Egypt. That's how dedicated that they were. So do we see that same pattern today? Yeah, we see it. The blacks and the browns. Hispanics and all those Puerto Rican, all those included. They the blacks and the browns. And that's just what it is. So that's just another way to look at it as well. Is that they still out there on the front lines, keeping this economy going. How many of you seen? I went to Sam's the other day. I was able to find everything I wanted. I was like, Baruch Hashem. So, just like the president, hey, you need to thank your cashier for being there. They on the front lines. Thank your cashier. Like that man that's, putting them eggs back there in the refrigerator. Thank you. While at the same time you get reports, and I'm not, putting on some people just not going to work. They quit going to work. They're like, man, I ain't going. I'm too scared of that virus. I ain't going to work. So they don't work. And guess what? You know what else was another great incentive? Well, I can get that unemployment. Unemployment's like double what my salary's going to be. I think they said unemployment, you get $900 a week for unemployment. That's a great incentive to do what? Keep your butt at home. So they, well, why do I have to work and put myself out there when I can stay at home, sit on the lazy boy sofa, and collect a check? Whilst others are on the front lines, dedicated and loyal to their positions and their jobs. And to that, I say thank you. But protect yourself. This economy still gonna roll, Mishpahah. I'm telling you. The whole positivity that comes into it, you see it in the stock market. Every time they say something, man, the stock market just jumps up like no man's business. People are anxious and pent up to just ready to roll. America will keep rolling. And somebody stated earlier, I don't know who it was, but, this is just only going to make America stronger. America's going to come out there so super strong, so super resilient, and so super dependent on self and not independent on others. That's one of the great lessons that everybody's saying we learn from this. If you can't depend on others, at the end of the day, you got to keep things in-house. Keep things rolling in-house, take care of other people. We get ready to do a big deal where we help in Mexico with oil. The president was talking about this. I think it's great. Giving them a great opportunity in helping them with their oil supply. And they'll pay us back later whenever they can, like you were saying. Maybe sooner than later. So, Bukashim. Hakoy said a lot of the divisions are disappearing. And that's, Yael 110 saying that's great. Don't need division at this time. Need to come together. Corona has brought a lot of people together as it has been divisive for other folks. They can't keep their marriage right. Well, your marriage was already rocky before Corona. So don't blame it on Corona. Corona just sped up the divorce procedure. You know what I'm saying? Oh, because of Corona, we getting a divorce. No, you're not. You guys was at each other's neck before Corona. Go figure. So, your relationship was already rocky. So don't try to blame it on Corona. Everybody wants to use the blame game instead of looking within themselves and saying and being honest with yourself. And I want all of you this day, during your, during this high festive time here around the world, is find yourself and find out what you desire. Use that time to talk to that inner man, that inner woman that's speaking to you, the voices, and you listen to them. Have a conversation. And find out truly what you want, what you desire for yourself. And then make it real. Visualize it and make it real. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. I want to listen to the briefing today. I don't know how much of his briefing is going to be today, but I know the president is working through this holiday. He's got a lot of things going on. For those of you in the stock market, you may want to keep an eye on airline stocks because they're getting ready to get a big deal. What I understand is going through right now. Airline stocks took a fall. I tell you what, Nakshan is going to make a great living off of Boeing. I'm getting ready to get some Boeing for Nakshan. And I think Boeing's going to go down a little bit more, but I'm telling you, Boeing's going to get a bailout. Do you see how the president favors Boeing? You better clue in with Boeing. Look at Boeing, and Boeing's going to be some great opportunities ahead. Right? And of course, everybody's on Amazon, but Boeing, and there's a lot of great little stocks out here that's going to do wonders for your children and your children's children. So think ahead, like our queen is saying. You may have, short-term goals, short-term marks, but you gotta look at long-term as well. So on that note, I'm gonna wrap it up. I love and I leave you all in the mighty hands of the Most High, and more importantly, under the instruction and umbrella of the Kohen in the gate, Rabbi Simon Alcat. Stick with them, and you will not go wrong. And one day a book is coming, but not yet. A book is coming from me about the Kohen in the gate. That's real. That's real. So on that note, we'll wrap it up. And I wish you, my desire is that all of you have a wonderful Shabbat and great 6 days of labor ahead. And go out and do marvelous and great things for your nation. More importantly, do great and marvelous things for your family. Shabbat Shalom to you. And over to you, Akoi. Any questions, we'll leave it open. If not, then we'll shut it down.
Ashada for that, Rabbi Kefa. So for those people who put out videos against me for not being a Kohen, for not being, I like to thank them all for giving me free publicity, whether I'm a Kohen or not. At the end of the day, if you are benefiting from my teachings and your life is changing, then Baruch Hashem, Yahweh for that, because that will put you straight and it'll change your life and it'll really set you free on the road to truth. And what in your desires and manifestations being met. That's what it comes down to. It's not about church gatherings and how many thousand people turn up. It's about how many lives are being changed, and that's my goal, is to change people's lives, make them better, make them more prosperous, make them have happy families. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So any questions that have arisen from the lecture, although I would say that, do listen to the President's broadcast, because they do pertain to a lot of information. And I didn't know this till I saw some of the videos out there in which they were saying that the black folks in America, the people of color, were teaching that, it's not going to affect us. We have got brown skin or black skin, and it's going to protect us. We got too much melanin. Guess what? It doesn't care about skin color. So it has that put to rest. So, and it actually turns out that more people are being affected, and what they're saying is to do with underlying conditions, because obviously nobody really knows why. That's the honest answer, is nobody really knows why. But what they are thinking is it could be that they have underlying conditions like diabetes, heart diseases, blood pressure, other things going on, asthma, etc. Even the Surgeon General was carrying a nebulizer, he's carrying this little inhaler, because he said, I have asthma, and I carry it in my pocket because with fear that what if I have an asthma attack. And so, I like to say to the Surgeon General that maybe you need to try alternative medicine, that you don't get an asthma attack and you can be healed. You don't need to carry that particular device. Yes, you carry it now, but you can actually be completely free. Problem is that Western medicine, which what they are touting to everybody, it doesn't have a cure for asthma, so therefore they have to carry that little inhaler with them wherever they go. That's the sad part of it. But we do have a cure for asthma in our tradition, in our medicine tradition, and using herbal therapies. But that's another topic. But I'd like to point out one thing. This is something that's under trial, and this is something that I want you to know, and I want you to test it out for yourselves. And if you find benefit, that's great. And if you don't, it's going to have no harmful effects. So what is it that I'm going to teach you right now? Take the essential oil called frankincense. It's one of our traditional ancient oils from the Bible, from our ancient days. Take that oil, and what you do with that is you rub that oil on your third eye chakra. That's between your two eyebrows. Take only one drop, rub it between that, and that will sharpen up your third eye chakra. It will also help your brain. It's really, really good for you. I was told by somebody that this oil, some lady, I'm not sure where, she was able to use that oil to cure cancer, and that was untreatable in her brain or somewhere. So this is to sharpen your third eye, and also you can rub it if you have issues with blood diseases like blood disorders, blood pressure, heart disease. Then one thing you can do is you can take that, and there is a point on both on your left and right hand. If you face palm up and you dissect your middle finger and run your middle finger straight down your hand, and you'll come across two tendons about 2 inches from the base of your hands, and you can rub it between those two tendons. That point is a heart point. It's called pericardium 6 in traditional Chinese medicine. You can rub that one drop of oil on there. That will help your heart as well. So definitely test it out, put it to the test, and report back any results that you desire to report, and we can use that to help other people. Now, of course, there are other things you can put on your third eye chakra, and that can be turmeric, which I advised before. You can put turmeric on there. That also sharpens it. But I believe that frankincense is a great substance to put you into that sports gear. So sure, Eddie, ask the question. Eddie said he has a health question. Ask, and anybody else that have any questions to do with manifesting law or perfect law, by all means ask without hindrance. So that we'll shut the room after that, and we'll let you go and prepare your meals on this wonderful Shabbat day. Adelia. Adelia, you had a question about Yechezkel 14:14. Okay, let me pull up the Bible. Let me pull it up, the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, and let me go to Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 14. And I can take that. Let me go there. Okay, let me pass the Torah. First Kings, book of Isaiah, and Jeremiah. There it is, chapter 14. Okay, let's pull it up, chapter 14, verse 14. Okay, it says, though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, that's Job, those three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they should recover but their own souls by their righteousness, says Master Yahweh. Now, there is obviously a couple of verses before that where the actual, you always have to go to the context. The word of Yahweh came again to me, saying, Son of man, when the land sins against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out my hand upon it, and I will break the staff of the lachem, the bread there, and will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it. Then it goes on to say that those three men, naming Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it. They should recover but their own souls by their righteousness, says Master Yahweh. If I cause wild beasts to pass through the land, and they spoil it so that it will be desolate, that no man may pass through because of the beast. Okay, so what does it actually mean? It basically is very simple. In very simple layman terms, I'm going to explain it to you. This is talking about the manifesting law, because remember, there are 70 ways to interpret our Bible. So, the meaning is very simple, that these three men use their righteousness, meaning they use their manifesting power to better their lives, and they will escape. While everybody else, they're searching for God out there in the wilderness, they're searching for God, and they're going to their temples and, their mosques and their, churches. Guess what? They're going to die. That's what the verse technically means. It means that if you applied the law, the Torah, the law of righteousness. What is the law of what is righteousness? Remember what I said, what is righteousness? I already gave you that. Righteousness is basically hitting the mark. Yeah, thank you, Eddie. Righteousness is hitting the mark. So what did Noah, Daniel, and Job would do? They are hitting the mark by manifesting law. So if they are hitting the mark by applying the manifesting law, and you are not, that puts you in the category of sinners. That doesn't mean you're an evil person, by the way. Let's not apply this wholesale to everybody being evil. No, that's not true. They're not all Hitlers, by the way. So, I was talking about Hitler today, and one thing I said, we don't know what will happen to Hitler after he dies. We don't know. And I'll look at chapter 16, because you mentioned chapter 14, verse 14, and you said, now you're saying chapter 16. Are you saying chapter 16 or verse 16? Okay, chapter 16, verse 14. Alright, let me go there as well. Let me go there too. Chapter 16, verse 14. So it says, and your fame went forth among the nations for your beauty, for it was complete through my comeliness, which I had put upon you, says Master Yahweh. Okay, so let's look at the context of that. We go back to chapter 16, and again the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her idolatrous acts, and say, Thus says Master Yahweh to Jerusalem, your birth and your nativity is of the land of Canaan, and your father was an Amori, and your mother a Hittite. And as for your nativity, in the day you were born, your navel was not cut. So it goes through that. It says that were you washed in wine for cleansing, you were not rubbed with salt, nor wrapped in blankets, etc., etc. And it comes to the point, it says in verse 14, and your fame went forth among the nations for your beauty. It was complete through my comeliness. Okay, so is that the verse you're talking about? Chapter 16, verse 16. Okay, let's get the verse right first before I answer it. Oh, okay, you're talking about chapter 14. Okay, let's go back and forth. Alright, 14:16. 14:16 says this, these three men were in it. As I live, says Master Yahweh, they shall rescue their own self. They shall rescue their sons, no daughters. Their only shall be rescued by the land shall be desolate. So they shall rescue neither sons nor daughters, they only shall be rescued. In other words, what? So here, do you remember that Eeyub, who's called Job in the Bible? Job was always praying for his sons and daughters. He was always giving sacrificial offerings, and he was doing all of that stuff, but they still died. Do you remember that time? They were all killed. So this verse in the book of Ezekiel is pointing back to that event, saying that Job was trying to protect his children by offering sacrifices, but he could not save them. So therefore, Job could only save himself, meaning, let's apply the esoteric and let's apply the philosophical meaning. The philosophical meaning is this: by your manifestation, you can change your life. But yes, you can help somebody else, but the prima facie is you help yourself with your righteousness. Yourself. Because when you help yourself, now let me put it in a broader terminology. If we have a strong president, if the president knows how to help himself, he can help the whole country and the whole world. What if the president was weak and he couldn't help himself? Would he be able to help us? Would he be able to help the world? The answer is no. So prima facie, help yourself with your manifestations first. Don't think, oh, my sister, oh, my brother, oh, my this, oh, my that. No. Help yourself first. Build yourself up. Make yourself strong. Because that is what God is telling you, that you have the I am to make yourself strong. So help yourself. Save yourself. Save yourself doesn't mean you're going to die from some contagion. Save yourself means that better your life first. Then look at your neighbor. Because they teach you this in airlines. Whenever you fly, they'll say, first put the mask on your own self. Then put it on your neighbor. And when you're flying and the mask come down for oxygen, first feed yourself, then feed somebody else. That is basically the context. The context is very simple. First help yourself with your righteousness, then help somebody else. Simply. So, Eddie, you had your question. I didn't get it. Meaning private question, but regarding eye health. Okay. You can email it to me, Eddie, if you want to keep it private. So, Eric is saying, can you use astrology to get a general scope of good timing to manifest, or to find ideal timing to start a business, apply for a new position, etc.? Kind of like the three wise men had knowledge of Yeshua by the way of astrology, I believe. Yes, Eric, you can use astrology, although I will only say one thing, that many astrologers out there are not clued up. They may give you a wrong reading, and the reading might be totally biased to what they believe. So, if the reading is accurate, if they can accurately predict, and there are people like that in India, by the way, who can accurately predict astrology. But again, I'd say that caution is advised in that they may not be able to accurately tell you. So you yourself will be your best guide. Why do I say that? Because this is why we test. You see, we test and we retest and we say, if I do this 3 times, and if I do it on a Tuesday, I found I get better results if I do it on a Monday. You see, they do this testing, stock market experts, they do this testing with stocks, with the SPX 500. They say, if you buy it on a Friday, if you buy it on a Tuesday, basically they say if you buy it on a Tuesday, like Monday night before the close, you buy the stocks of the SPX or SPY, which is the ETF, and they say that, historically, 90% of the time on Tuesday, it ended in an up-close day, even through the hard times. So that's called a prediction based on statistics. So, Eric, you will be your best statistics. You will be able to describe it yourself better, but maybe an astrologer could tell you that when the moon is, facing this way, and, the Venus planet is aligned another way, then your, manifestation power is increased because you were born under a certain, under a certain star, or a certain astrological figure. So those do, and those can help. But like I said, they have to be by people who can predict accurately or can read your chart accurately. So therefore, this is something that you're going to have to look at. So having said that, do not always read into our books and just think, oh, everybody is a sinner and God is killing everybody left, right, and center. No, God is not doing that, by the way. God is just giving you basically an example of what happens when you don't follow what you've been taught. And by the way, that very chapter 16 actually talks about Abraham being born in the land of India. And speaks about Israel's origins coming out of India. Yeah, today's modern day India, which was one time called Hindustan. So I will leave you with that. Have a great day, great Shabbat, great Passover festival. Until next time, Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom.